Chapter 587, 1003rd Cycle's First Day. Kijijigijik. The world begins to turn once more. Within the reversing flow of time, I regain my senses. I move against the river of time, letting out a hollow smile. Again have I died? 10 million years. 10 million years of time. 10 million years of connections. All of it has vanished once again. The immortal treasures that had accompanied me through those eons, the living beings of the crystal glass realm who had walked alongside me, the family of Inyan. They all turned to nothingness. I want to stop dying. Regression is truly, the worst authority. Thinking so, I raise my gaze towards the sky, resigning myself to the next life that will inevitably come for me once more. So far, I have identified a total of 5 symbols. White wheel, the heavenly venerable of the underworld. Mountain exuding darkness, the great mountain supreme deity, Guak Am. Transparent seed, the sal tree heavenly venerable, flower monarch, Guan Mayong. 6 interconnected stars, the heavenly venerable of time, true ultimate eternal life, great emperor Qion Wun. Blackened 3 great ultimates, the heavenly venerable of the void, true martial great emperor, Hien Mu. I have confirmed the names and symbols of Guak Am and the 4 heavenly venerables. This time, the supreme deities. I shift my gaze toward the other seats. More symbols catch my eye. Bird trapped in a cage. The liberation supreme deity, Bong Mayong. An all too familiar existence. Only then do I understand why one of the seats gave me a familiar feeling. It was because I had personally encountered this existence in the past. More symbols come into view. Lightning spear. The heavenly punishment supreme deity, Dugon. Black sun. The swallowing heaven supreme deity, Hien Riol. Taiji in the shape of a fetus. The naming supreme deity, Hien Rang. The heavenly punishment supreme deity is already familiar to me, and from both the feeling and title, the swallowing heaven supreme deity seems to be the being filled with endless hunger I had sensed before. And the last one, the naming supreme deity, Hien Rang, a being that feels like a blurry, hazy dream. As I stare at Hien Rang, a strange feeling washes over me. What is this? Wu Wong. My blood. My immortal beast true blood has now advanced to Earth Upper Immortal. The blood of Candle Shadow. It's resonating. The bloodlines of Pangu and Candle Shadow resonate, as if their roots were one and the same. Just when I realized this, 3. A symbol seems to flicker before my eyes. Sun and moon, Riyat. But it is not a symbol that appears from gazing at one of the seats of the heavens. It is merely an illusion, brought forth by the resonance of Pangu's blood and my own. At the same time, I witness a strange vision. It feels like a dream. Yet, it is far too vivid to be just a dream. At the center of the world, there is sun and moon, Riyat. And everything in the world converges upon that sun and moon. However, there are 2 existences that break free from within it. One is the Taiji in the shape of a fetus. In other words, the naming supreme deity, Hien Rang. The other is something of 7 colors. The naming supreme deity Hien Rang bursts out from within the space of sun and moon and reaches the distant sky. The 7-colored something emerges from the space and shatters into 7 fragments, scattering across the world. And between the 2, there is a commonality. A thread. No, should I call it a chain? Or perhaps some kind of conduit or passage? There is a strange connection. Hien Rang is linked to the space of sun and moon by one massive and powerful connecting link. The 7 fragments, on the other hand, are connected to the space of sun and moon by countless thin and small connecting links. I recognize that one of those 7 fragments is me, and I am somewhat different from the others. So many. Compared to the other fragments, I am connected to the space of sun and moon by over 1,000 connecting links. Each individual link is thin, but when taken together, they seem even thicker and stronger than the naming supreme deity's link. That is, I read the wisdom contained within the vision and come to understand what it means. Ender. As I gaze at the countless growing connecting links, I feel as if I have glimpsed one of the world's secrets. That is the end. Peowat. Finally, I leap across 10 million years and finally return. The familiar moment of advancing to true immortality. Kugugugugu. Embracing life and death within the domain of purity and regaining my senses, I quickly descend to the lower realm. Wong. The moment I descend, the sword spear heavenly lord appears, glances around as if surveying the surroundings, and then disappears. It must be due to the immortal title of crystal glass being. TSTSTSTST. I take in the familiar surroundings, then read the celestial energy to discern the current point in time. I see. The current time is 2,500 years since I began my true immortal advancement. 500 years, Perhaps because my cultivation has risen, allowing me to regain my senses faster, I have managed to gain an additional 500 years. For now, I reach a familiar altar on a nearby planet. Karuru. As I release my presence, a black shadow crawls forth as if it had been waiting. Hong Fan, have you been well? Oh, Master. Congratulations on your advancement to true immortality. Yes, you've worked hard guarding this place in the meantime. I briefly inform Hong Fan that I will finish my business in the Sun and Moon heavenly domain before immediately moving on to another heavenly domain. Yes, understood. I shall serve as needed. Good. First, take my clones and make a round through the middle realms. After that, send down your own clone or do whatever is necessary to bring the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder Sect from the head realm. As you command. Habit. With those words, Hong Fan vanishes from sight. Unlike in my past life, he does not insist on annihilating the silver snake or the other living beings. Near the altar Hong Fan created, the same living beings as before are nowhere to be seen. Perhaps it's because the time point is a little different. Thinking that, I decide to move on. Then it happens. Watching Hong Fan leap across distant space-time, I am suddenly seized by a strange sense of discord. Something is off. Looking at Hong Fan, an eerie sense of dissonance and foreboding seems to rise. Why is this? What is the problem? Something is different. I don't know if it's simply because I woke up at a different point in time after regressing. For now, I should ask Hong Fan when he returns. Nodding to myself, I reach out my hand to head to where I need to go. Clang. For now, my cultivation is still restricted because of the 6 Northern Dipper Ceiling Immortal Flags. In fact, now that one of them has been removed, the connection between the remaining flags have become stronger. Because of that, the level of cultivation I can currently use in the lower realm has actually dropped even further, reduced to the 6th star of Qi refining. But I've gained far more in return. Clang, clang. As I exert my will, something rises above my hand. Something that had once been embedded in my immortal body. It is one of the Northern Dipper Ceiling Immortal Flags, which had been extracted during my previous advancement. Now you are mine. Kaduduk. I grip the Northern Dipper Ceiling Immortal Flag and shake it. A flag that binds its target by assimilating with them. Perhaps due to that principle, this Northern Dipper Ceiling Immortal Flag has now transformed into my own immortal treasure, imbued with my split soul. Through my split soul within the flag, I come to understand how to wield it. Sealing Immortal Flag for binding and sealing. Harnessing God Banner for attacking and movement. Is it? Why yang? As I exert my will, the surface of the Northern Dipper Ceiling Immortal Flag seems to flip over, altering its form. Now transformed into the form of the 7 stars harnessing God Banner, the flag rests quietly in my hand, awaiting my command. I command the 7 stars harnessing God Banner in the name of its master. Compress the path of 1,000 li, Chanlit, into a single chi. Clang, clang. Kaguguguk. Chains of starlight burst forth from the 7 stars, harnessing God Banner. The very chains that had originally bound my body now seem to be shackling the space-time of the Sun and Moon heavenly domain, distorting the space itself. As space-time warps, the distance to cedarwood painting is compressed. Of course, even if it has been reduced to 1/10,000,000th of its original length, the distance to cedarwood painting still spans hundreds of light years, so the journey remains long. At my current level at the 6th star of Qi refining, it would take me months to get there without Hong Fan's assistance. But, Wu Wong, savoring the power I gained upon advancing to upper immortal, I take a step forward. Shall we test this out? Wu Wong. Both my feet begin to heat up. A portion of my main body's power undergoes divine descent. Kaguguguk. It feels as if Taiji is condensing into both feet. Then, in an instant, Jiung. An immense explosion erupts as I propel myself through space. Countless stars, nebulae, fixed stars, planets, and strange cosmic expanses rush past me. In the minor boundary, the Heaven Tribe and Earth Tribe each have their own methods of movement. The Heaven Tribe uses the flying escape technique, hiding their bodies within light as they soar. The Earth Tribe uses the gliding technique, flying by stepping on platforms formed from Taiji. However, once both sides reach the middle boundary and attain the 4-axis stage, their methods of movement unify into one. The ground shrinking technique. By folding space through attraction force, the ground shrinking technique allows for movement faster than light itself. No matter how much one practices the Earth Tribe's gliding technique, it's impossible to match the speed of the ground shrinking technique. And since even the Earth Tribe gains attraction force upon reaching the 4-axis stage, they too focus on mastering the ground shrinking technique rather than continuing to train in the gliding technique. This remains unchanged all the way up to the entering Nirvana stage. However, true immortal. More precisely, starting from the realm of upper immortal, movement techniques begin to diverge once again. Earth upper immortals. In other words, immortal beasts who oversee explosions are, by themselves, explosions. Every breath we exhale, every motion we make, every habitual movement, even the mere fluttering of our hair, Everything about us is an explosion. Thus, even when taking a single step, we are capable of generating an explosion that transcends imagination to move. Geum. I explode. Space-time itself detonates, and the overwhelming force of the explosion hurls me forward. There is no need to fold space with attraction force. With each explosion, space-time distorts naturally, achieving an effect similar to the ground shrinking technique. Coolum. Within the exploding space, I adjust space-time with the 7 stars harnessing God banner to ensure I do not lose my way. After approximately 45 minutes, Hualong. With the final explosion, I finally reach my destination, cedarwood painting. Shi. Heat from the explosions radiates off my entire body, and while cooling the heat, I swing the 7 stars harnessing God banner. Open the door to cedarwood painting. Kugugugugu. Space distorts, and the dimension of cedarwood painting pops open. Through the hole, I compress space once more and, in a single movement, land right in front of Yeoy. Yeoy blinks at my sudden appearance before her, then shifts her gaze to the 7 stars harnessing God banner in my hand. Huh? It's been a while, Yeoy. You haven't forgotten our previous promise, have you? Become my subordinate. With your abilities, you should be worthy of being an immortal treasure. Her eyes tremble violently. More than anything else, her gaze is locked onto the 7 stars harnessing God banner in my grasp, which follows my command. How in the world? Well, let's just say I managed to release one of them upon my advancement. Perhaps it's because she is well aware of the power of the 7 stars harnessing God banner as a member of the Source River, as she appears more taken aback than I've ever seen her. After a while, she kneels before me with a stiff expression. My master. In other words, according to the calculations of the Northern Dipper's 7 heavenly lords, if one were to be caught in that seal, even the vast cold heavenly lord would take about 10 million years to break free. And yet, you have undone one of them in merely 2,500 years. This Yeoy offers Elder my utmost loyalty. It seems breaking the seal of the Northern Dipper sealing immortal flag is an issue of utmost importance to Yeoy. Very well. From now on, you shall be refined into my immortal treasure. Take heed. I obey. Wu-wong. Yeoy immediately withdraws from her position as the sacred master of cedarwood painting and enters my body of her own accord. Next is the Candle Dragon race. Then, Wu-wong. Using the power of the 7 stars harnessing God banner, I stride toward the stellar system where the Candle Dragon race resides. Along the way, I suddenly feel something strange. This is in my past life. At the time of my final moments, my body contained twin constructing chains, unruly chain, and obsidian chain, immortal treasures that had been my subordinates. Of course, they could not follow me through my regression. However, the flesh of those who had been somewhat assimilated with my true body had come with me. That means, Master, what in the world is this? The body of Yeoy from my past life is now facing the body of Yeoy from this life. Yeoy seems taken aback. From within me, she gazes upon another body identical to her own, one that has already been refined by me. And at that moment, the body of twin constructing chains Yeoy and the body of Yeoy from this life seem to be drawn towards each other. Then, in an instant, the body of twin constructing chains Yeoy is rapidly absorbed into this life's Yeoy. Hi, Hieraf. And Master, something weird is being absorbed into. Then, I unexpectedly come to realize another truth. Clang, clang. Black chains surge from my body. These dark chains swirl around me, spinning 3 times in the void before taking the form of Yeoy. What in the world is this, Master? My eyes gleam at this unexpected gain. Instead of the tedious process of refining Yeoy, simply merging her with her past life body has immediately transformed her into my immortal treasure. And now that she has become an immortal treasure in this way, she seems even more special and powerful than before. Power. I can feel power overflowing. And this authority. What is this? I think I can connect to the Source River even more smoothly. A past memory surfaces. Back then, Buk Hyangwa's Naraigi and the one I had refined into my Dharma treasure merged and were absorbed into her. I stroke the Naraigi hanging from my waist. It seems that when I bring materials from the past world into this world, they fuse with their counterparts here, becoming stronger and gaining unique abilities. Wait a moment. In that case, could Hamjin and Uy also immediately rise to the sacred vessel stage? Intrigued by the possibility, I decide that I must bring those two along in the future. Master, please answer me. What is this power? And that body identical to mine that I saw just now, what was that? I think for a moment, considering an appropriate way to answer Yeoy's question, then speak. I had prepared a reserve body in advance so that you could immediately undergo immortal treasure transformation. It is a body created from highly special materials, so you will find it quite to your liking. Ahaha. Thank you, master. It is truly to my liking. I will serve with utmost loyalty. Please climb aboard. I will take you to your destination. With a face full of excitement, Yeo transforms into a Pong, then swiftly carries me towards the headquarters of the Candle Dragon race. Before long, I arrive at the fixed star where the Candle Dragon race resides. Kaio, Krurarara. The Candle Dragon race is in a frenzy. It is only natural. My immortal beast true blood now flows within them, bestowing them with immense authority. Just as the Black Dragon race wields the Black Dragon true blood to command Een energy, the Peng race manipulates spatial labyrinths with the Azure Peng true blood, and the Peacock race refines hypnosis techniques with the Glass Peacock true blood. I can sense that these Candle Dragons, through the Candle Shadow true blood, are now capable of borrowing the authority of my impermanence sword. Of course, they require my permission. But since I have no intention of denying them, I grant all of them a portion of the impermanence sword's power. In addition to their existing control over Glass True Fire, they now have the filling the heavens governing view embedded within the impermanence sword, or perhaps the attribute to ignore planes to a certain extent. At this level, couldn't they contend with the actual dragon race? As I ponder this, I imprint my will upon the entire Candle Dragon race. In exchange for borrowing my authority through my immortal beast true blood, I now hold the right to insert my will and commands into the entire race. I, the immortal beast Candle Shadow, Juyin, command in my name. My descendants born of my blood, do not plunder others. Cherish your connections, and let only your own existence be your lamp in life. Ceaselessly undergo repentant enlightenment, and seek the answer to life. This is the price of borrowing the power of this immortal. History revision takes place. No, calling it a revision feels somewhat inaccurate. I have merely altered the fundamental nature of the bloodline that connects us. Now, they can no longer defy the command I have given them. More precisely, should they betray my decree by cruelly plundering, oppressing, or tormenting others. From that moment onward, they will no longer be able to borrow the power of my immortal beast true blood. Rather, my immortal beast true blood will become an overwhelming heart demon that clings to their minds, ensuring they can never advance in cultivation again. Oh, our progenitor god. Oh, the very origin of the Candle Dragons. Oh, great and mighty one, please watch over us. With tears streaming down their faces, the Candle Dragons prostrate before me in unison, offering their prayers. I listen to the countless voices of their devotion and smile. May their future be blessed. Having thus blessed the Candle Dragons, I set off toward the Lightning Sacred Sea. Kugugugugu, the Lightning Sacred Sea, a part of Yang Sujin's divine body, sealing the entrance to the Heavenly King Heavenly Domain where Radiance Hall is located, his storage scroll. Observing it, I take a seat on a nearby planet and close my eyes. Before long, Hong Fan arrives, crossing vast space-time. I sense that Hong Fan has returned from the Middle Realms after settling my connections there, bringing my clones back with him. I absorb my clones, then absorb Ham Jean and Yu into my body. Did you bring them safely? Yes, Master. I have brought all the disciples of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder Sect. Well done, Hong Fan. I praise Hong Fan, then prepare to enter the Lightning Sacred Sea. However, to the uneasy sense of dissonance I've been feeling since before, I suddenly turned back to Hong Fan. It's strange. Something is definitely off, but I can't pinpoint exactly what it is. Swallowing dryly, I question Hong Fan. Hong Fan. Yes, Master. There's something I'm curious about. Please ask. After staring at Hong Fan for a while, I realize what has been bothering me. Hong Fan has been leaping through space-time with immense attraction force, traveling back and forth between the Middle Realms and the Lightning Sacred Sea. That is what feels wrong. Didn't you lower your cultivation to the integration stage? Haha, Master. Hong Fan bursts into hearty laughter, as if amused by my curiosity about everything. It is a warm, comforting laugh. Yin Yang. What is Master saying? With my talent, 2,000 years is more than enough to recover to the star-shattering stage. Only then does the sense of dissonance fade, and I nod. Right? Hong Fan's talent has always been absurd enough to feel unnatural. Thinking back, wasn't it the same in the early days of my past life as well? He was always at the star-shattering stage, so what exactly did I find strange? Even I, myself, don't know. Feeling a little embarrassed, I shrug and step forward with Hong Fan, entering the Lightning Sacred Sea. Chapter 588, Mount Sumeru 1. I take a deep breath as I enter the Lightning Sacred Sea. Only then do I fully awaken my senses. Inside the astral realm of the Sun and Moon Heavenly Domain, a strange instinctual warning kept me from fully awakening. But now, my senses spread throughout my entire body. I could extend my senses even further, but for now, I focus solely on the inner depths of the Lightning Sacred Sea, preparing for my encounter with Golden Shaking Bird. Descend me, Yo-Y. Yes, master. My immortal treasure, Yo-Y, instantly becomes the vessel for my true body to descend into the lower realm. The transformation body I made in the lower realm is sucked into Yo-Y's body, and I descend my true body into my immortal treasure. Unable to withstand my consciousness, Yo-Y's consciousness crumples. Her body begins to shift, transforming to mirror my own. First floor of the lightning sacred sea. There, I reveal a head made of candle flame and a body formed of mist. The true body of the immortal beast, Candle Shadow, has descended onto the first floor of the lightning sacred sea. Kuga-guga-gugu. From over 100 floors above, Golden Shaking Bird senses the intruder. I can feel her manipulating the entirety of the lightning sacred sea to expel me. But it's useless. Kadoo-da-duck. I break through the laws of the lightning sacred sea head-on, rising through the floors. My upper immortal senses focused on the lightning sacred sea clearly reveal the intertwined weaving of fate and Yang Sujin's authority. I see Golden Shaking Bird adjusting the authority of the lightning sacred sea. Through the extinguishing divine, tribulating heavens technique, I can immediately persuade Golden Shaking Bird, but I want to test how far my strength has grown. So, with pure strength alone, I break through Golden Shaking Bird's interference and enter the control space of the lightning sacred sea. Geum. The laws of the lightning sacred sea fail to restrain me and shatter apart, and I finally reach the control floor. Yang Sujin's poppy fields emit a hazy fragrance, attempting to brainwash me, but it's useless. Pot. I sweep away Yang Sujin's brainwashing immortal art with my consciousness and turn my gaze towards the figure glaring at me in fear. It's Yang Sujin's pet thunder beast, Golden Shaking Bird. Golden Shaking Bird looks at me with frightened eyes and speaks. What brings the upper immortal here? Judging by your form, it seems this is our first meeting. Do you perhaps have a debt with my master? Up until my past life, Golden Shaking Bird was at least able to somewhat match me within the lightning sacred sea. But now that I have become an upper immortal, even without using the extinguishing divine, tribulating heavens technique, I know I can crush Golden Shaking Bird to death inside the lightning sacred sea. Haha, no. Look, Wawoom. I instantly seize control of the lightning sacred sea using the extinguishing divine, tribulating heavens technique. Golden Shaking Bird's wary eyes soften a little. Were you perhaps Master's disciple? Master did, at times, take in true immortal disciples. Golden Shaking Bird's reaction is amusing. In my previous life, she at least considered me a newly advanced true immortal. But in this life, having revealed myself in the form of an upper immortal, she now seems to think I'm someone Yang Sujin once took in as a disciple that she did not know of. Well, let's go with that. After all, I was once a disciple of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect. By the way, have you come here aiming for Master's vault? If that is the case, even if you are my senior brother, I cannot allow it. Golden Shaking Bird bows politely, treating me as her senior brother. Master's vault is only to be opened to Master's successor, who inherited the extinguishing divine, tribulating heavens technique among the mortal beings. So, please do not entertain any reckless thoughts, senior brother. Ahaha, do not worry. I, too, want the treasures of the lightning sacred sea to go to the rightful heir. And the reason I came to you today is to tell you that the rightful successor of the lightning sacred sea has appeared once more. Pardon. I explained to Golden Shaking Bird about John Myung-hoon, and her body trembles in disbelief. This, I can't believe it. Master has resurrected? Well, see for yourself. He is currently in the Bearing Tree Heavenly Domain. If you ever feel like going there, just let me know. Understood. I need some time to think. Golden Shaking Bird, seemingly overwhelmed by the sudden appearance of an upper immortal delivering such news, retreats into her dwelling and is lost in thought. I release the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect into the lightning sacred sea and, with my true body, take a deep breath within its depths. I have become an upper immortal. The power authority of an immortal beast fills my entire being. Until moments ago, I was too focused on immediate tasks to truly reflect on myself. But now that I set my mind to it and reflect inward, I discover something rather interesting. Is it because I regress to the point in time during my true immortal advancement, overlapping the power of my upper immortal self with my current self? Right now, both myself as a vestige liberation immortal and myself as the immortal beast Candle Shadow coexist. This is good. It seems there is a way to advance to a heaven immortal. Currently, my authority is at the level of an upper immortal, but in pure weight class, it touches the peak of a great net immortal. Of course, it's not truly identical to the peak of a great net immortal. Even if I overlay the wheel to the three great ultimates, at best, I can only rival the authority of a peak great net immortal. Reaching the strength of an immortal lord is out of the question. To reach the level of an immortal lord, I need to elevate both my heaven immortal and immortal beast powers to their peak, raise my martial arts to an equal height, and then handle the will. At this point, it's absurd to even dare discuss the realm of an immortal lord. After reflecting on my current level, I begin refining this sense I've gained upon stepping into the realm of an upper immortal. Wawoon. I can feel it. This is insane. A hollow laugh escapes me uncontrollably. Within the astral realm of the sun and moon heavenly domain, I had hesitated to use this sense due to an eerie foreboding. But the moment I fully unleash the sense of an immortal beast within the lightning sacred sea, a thunderous realization shakes my entire being. I can feel the plane of chi. I have become capable of perceiving this entire world. Before, I merely caught glimpses of the plane of chi, and, during the entering nirvana stage, I had only managed to seize the plane of chi belonging to me. That was the limit. But now, having become an upper immortal and fully drawing on the senses of the Earth tribe, I am overwhelmed by an indescribable mix of liberation and ecstasy, leaving my mouth agape. I can see it. Within this small head, I faintly perceive the plane of chi of this entire Sumeru 3 heavens great thousand worlds. Shi, San Tan, Dachinket. Editor. This is a correction from the previous translation 3,000 great thousand worlds, as the Hanja was not given before Anton, heaven, and Chin, thousand, are both written Aston, Chion, in Hangul. Though I can't grasp the finer details, I now understand the structure of this world. This is inverted cone. That's right. Only now do I truly understand why the true immortals refer to the 3 heavens great thousand worlds as Mount Sumeru. This Sumeru 3 heavens great thousand worlds unfolds in the form of an inverted cone. At the top of Mount Sumeru lies a circular surface. At the bottom of Mount Sumeru, there is a vertex. The curvature of all heavenly domains traces the shape of this inverted cone, forming the world. Where the surface of the inverted cone exists, the powerful presence of the 11 existences can be felt. So that's how it is. They must be the governing immortals. Though the governing immortals seem to be inside Mount Sumeru, the seats they have risen to are all at the top of Mount Sumeru. In other words, they reside at the circular surface. Perhaps they above and below, felt within the true immortal realm, are meant to represent this. The positions of the governing immortals seen from the true immortal realm, within the heavenly sky, must be there. The supreme deities and heavenly venerables. They are beings who have transcended Mount Sumeru itself, up to the realms of great net immortal and immortal lord. All live within the inverted cone that is Mount Sumeru. But the moment one is enthroned as a supreme deity, they transcend the very world of Mount Sumeru. Then, the immortal bodies of the governing immortals acting within the heavenly domains, should I think of them not as their main bodies, but as some kind of projection or incarnation? A question stirs within me about the existence of the governing immortals. Now that I've become an upper immortal, I can sense the presence of the governing immortals dwelling across Mount Sumeru. In the underworld, the heavenly venerable of the underworld. Within the source river, only a faint will. In the eastern heaven flower field, the sal tree heavenly venerable. Within the interdimensional void, the presence of Hien Mu is felt. In the twin holding heavenly domain, the swallowing heaven supreme deity. In the earth boundary heavenly domain, the liberation supreme deity. In the elephant nose heavenly domain, the naming supreme deity. In the horse ear heavenly domain, the heavenly punishment supreme deity. And in the heavenly king heavenly domain, the power of light is strongly felt. In the other good sight heavenly domain, bearing tree heavenly domain, and earth axis heavenly domain, no particular power is felt, likely because they have no rulers. In good sight and bearing tree, light flickers faintly, while in the earth axis heavenly domain, only the aura of corpse mountain blood sea lingers. Sensing the entirety of Mount Sumeru, my lips part. It's vast. This world is truly immense. The space of chaos between the heavenly domains and the strange world outside Mount Sumeru. All of it converges, striking my mind with a suffocating sense of overwhelming existence. Though I perceive Mount Sumeru as a whole, it feels like I'm merely gazing at the mountain from afar. I can only barely sense the vast presences of the governing immortals, unable to grasp any finer details beyond that. What I do know is that even this rough sense is enough to leave me breathless at the sheer scale of this world. 9 universes form the world, layered together with the true immortal realm. All of them merge together to draw an inverted cone. What a spectacle! I feel somehow crushed beneath the sheer scale of Mount Sumeru. Simply beholding its size, I can't help but think, it's beautiful. But that isn't all. Shiver. A foreboding. I turn my gaze to the bottom of Mount Sumeru. Ha ha ha. Why did I only sense Mount Sumeru after entering the lightning sacred sea, and not within the sun and moon heavenly domain. Perhaps it was due to an instinctive sense of foreboding. And now, I understand the source of that instinctive unease. The upper part of Mount Sumeru, that is, the lower section of the mountain, near the circular surface of the inverted cone, is where the twin holding, earth axis, bearing tree, horse ear, good sight, elephant nose, and earth boundary heavenly domains lie. The middle part of Mount Sumeru, that is, the midsection of the mountain, in the middle of the inverted cone, is where the Heavenly King heavenly domain resides. The Heavenly King heavenly domain alone is absurdly massive. Its size is only slightly smaller than the combined size of the other 7 heavenly domains. And then, the lower part of Mount Sumeru, the summit of the mountain, near the very vertex of the inverted cone. There lies the smallest sun and moon heavenly domain. The sun and moon heavenly domain that is significantly smaller even when compared to the other heavenly domains seems to be the smallest because it is being pulled inward to the vertex of the inverted cone. And I see something that prevents the sun and moon heavenly domain from expanding. The vertex of the sun and moon heavenly domain, the very end of Mount Sumeru. I see what lies there. I see. Letting out a low hum, I fully grasp the concept of above and below that I felt in the true immortal realm. Above, in the true immortal realm, is the heavenly sky, where the governing immortals reside. And below, in the true immortal realm, a place brimming with ominous dread, where it feels like falling would mean complete annihilation. The very edge of this Sumeru world, that space of sun and moon is. I now understand what the space of sun and moon I saw during my regression truly means. At the vertex of Mount Sumeru lies the head realm. So that is the point of beginning. This entire world converges towards the head realm. The initial stage of the phenomena extinguishing mantra, the creation of the inverted cone, was about drawing out the structure of Mount Sumeru itself. In other words, the phenomena extinguishing mantra doesn't merely end with compressing a heavenly domain. It is also an immortal art of observation that maps out this entire world. As my understanding of the phenomena extinguishing mantra deepens, a strange feeling strikes me. Wait, come to think of it, I first discovered the starting point of the phenomena extinguishing mantra in the head realm. By converting the constellations of the head realm using the spells I learned from Chongmun Ryong, it became the phenomena extinguishing mantra. And the phenomena extinguishing mantra is also an immortal art that observes the entirety of Mount Sumeru. Then, doesn't that mean the constellations of the head realm are observing all of Mount Sumeru? Twitch, suddenly feeling as if the eyes of the head realm are meeting mine, I hurriedly glance towards it. But it's just my imagination. The head realm still floats within the interdimensional void, as always, its eyes rolled back. Yet even though its eyes are turned inward, I let out another low hum. Whether the eyes are rolled back or not. Regardless, the head realm is observing all of Mount Sumeru. That much is certain. Hong Fan. Yes, master. Bring golden shaking bird. I want to leave for another heavenly domain as soon as possible. I no longer wish to linger in this sun and moon heavenly domain, where that ominous head realm exists. Wanting to escape even a second sooner, I order Hong Fan to fetch golden shaking bird. Now, I finally understand why despite there being plenty of true immortals in other heavenly domains, only Blood Een and Golden Shaking Bird remained in the sun and moon heavenly domain despite Yang Su Jin's ring finger blocking its entrance. No true immortal wants to set foot in this ominous edge of Mount Sumeru, in this sun and moon heavenly domain where the head realm resides. Translator notes, 3,000 great thousand worlds - 3 heavens great thousand worlds. The Hanja was finally revealed. I translated it as 3,000 previously because the Hanja wasn't given and I didn't want to reveal it before it was properly revealed in the story. Plus, 3,000 great thousand worlds is an actual Buddhist concept and the actual meaning of the term without the change in Hanja. Chapter 589, Mount Sumeru 2. Have you made your decision, Golden Shaking Bird? Yes. Let us proceed. However, to use the Great Desolate Path, mustn't at least a true immortal level spirit operate it? I nod. Don't worry about that. The original of the Great Desolate Path. This is Yangsung's split soul. If that's the case, there shouldn't be a problem. But I don't intend to use it. What? Become the main soul of the Great Desolate Path. Then, I'll go meet him and bring him right to where you are. At my words, distrust flickers in Golden Shaking Bird's eyes. To be exact, she was already somewhat distrustful of me, but now that distrust has deepened even more. However, I have no intention of backing down. It was the same in my past life. When I tried to move from the Bearing Tree Heavenly Domain to the Good Sight Heavenly Domain, it took an unnecessarily long time to reach the teleportation formation zone set up by Radiance Hall. If I embed Golden Shaking Bird's spirit into the Great Desolate Path, I can bring John Myung-hoon here right away and show him to Golden Shaking Bird. That way, I'll be able to move to any heavenly domain in the future. There would no longer be any need to painstakingly search for teleportation formations. But Golden Shaking Bird glares at me and growls. The reason I treated the Distinguished One as a senior brother is because the Distinguished One learned Extinguishing Divine Tribulating Heavens. The formula of Extinguishing Divine Tribulating Heavens, written in a language of another world, cannot be learned unless personally taught by Master. However, this is the first time I am seeing a senior brother like you. To be honest, I can't even believe that Master has been resurrected. That is why I cannot fully trust the Distinguished One's words. If I become the main soul of the Great Desolate Path, and, as you say, Master has truly resurrected and uses me to come back, then of course, it would be an unparalleled joy. However, once I become the main soul of an immortal treasure, especially one as high-grade as the Great Desolate Path, breaking free with only my own strength would be extremely difficult and agonizing. Moreover, if after I undergo immortal treasure transformation, you refine me using Yang Sung's split soul, then I would be completely bound as your immortal treasure. Wouldn't someone of your level be able to resist when they become an immortal treasure? Honestly, I am not confident I could resist an upper immortal at the level of the Distinguished One. In any case, since I have no way to resist if the Distinguished One deceived me, I cannot accept the Distinguished One's proposal. Does the Distinguished One have any proof that you are not deceiving me? Proof, huh? If I show you proof, will you comply? It must be convincing proof. Fine, I'll show you then. Wawun. I connect to the 5 Tenghua paintings that followed my spirit from the previous cycle. If I take out John Myung-hoon's Tenghua, it will resonate with the John Myung-hoon of this timeline. After all, this Tenghua contains a portion of his fate. Golden Shaking Bird will understand why the fate within the Tenghua resonates. She will immediately realize that John Myung-hoon has been resurrected. All I have to do is show her the Tenghua. Here, look, pat it. I naturally move the Tenghua paintings within my body. And just as I try to take out John Myung-hoon's Tenghua in front of Golden Shaking Bird, opening a dimensional gate to my internal world. Wawun. What? The 5 Tenghua inside my internal world. The moment they come into contact with the energy of the outside, they rapidly resonate, then shoot out beyond my body at a speed that transcends light. Before long, the 5 Tenghua scatter in different directions as if they have their own will, passing through the outskirts of the underworld. I try to grab them, but the Tenghua have already passed through the deeper depths of the underworld's outskirts, making it impossible to grab them recklessly. If I force it, I might end up falling into the underworld myself. I dumbly watch the Tenghua escape. Golden Shaking Bird failed to sense John Myung-hoon's aura as the Tenghua flashed past at a speed that transcends light. What was that just now? It passed by so fast that I couldn't tell. Can you call it back? I try to summon the Tenghua paintings back, but they don't budge at all. I know exactly where they have gone. Damn it. They flew off to the enders of this life. They've probably attached themselves to them by now. Oh, heavenly venerable of the underworld. Just why did you give me something like this? I mutter in a low voice. That, one of those that just flew off holds power related to your master. Did you sense it? Didn't I say it was too fast to sense anything? Arg. Regardless, I've shown you proof. Because it's a power tied to your master, it got pulled towards where your master is. How is that proof? Is it right to shove it to me as proof when I couldn't even recognize it? You're the one who didn't see it. So why are you blaming me? Am I some upper immortal? I'm a thunder beast who barely managed to cling to true immortality. What do you want me to do? The more I talk to Golden Shaking Bird, the more irritated I feel. I didn't expect the Tenghua to immediately escape from me like that. On top of that, I want to get out of this sun and moon heavenly domain, where that ominous head realm lies, as soon as possible. The constant bickering with Golden Shaking Bird is giving me a headache. I glance towards the direction of the head realm. Even just looking at it feels ominous. No, is it because my senses have deepened? A horrifying, chilling sensation that I hadn't felt before now creeps all over my body. Damn it. Even though I've become a true immortal, no? Maybe it's because I became one. Just staring at the head realm makes me feel like I'll go mad. Listen to me. Master, are you alright? I realize I'm suddenly glaring at Golden Shaking Bird with spiritual energy dripping from my mouth like drool. Damn it. I know it myself. My temper is getting volatile. Just by expanding my senses within the lightning sacred sea and perceiving the head realm, I'm like this. If I had spread my senses inside the sun and moon heavenly domain, I might have truly gone mad from the head realm's poison. Listen to me. This is your final warning. If you don't, I won't hesitate to take extreme measures to escape the sun and moon heavenly domain. Do as you please. I've made myself clear. Unless I see Master in person, I will not believe you. If I use Yang Sung's split soul, I'll have to return to the sun and moon heavenly domain to come back to the lightning sacred sea. Master's great desolate path is, from the start, an immortal treasure meant for urgent escapes. Honestly, under normal circumstances, it wouldn't be any issue if you just used the teleportation formation created by Radiance Hall. This is going nowhere. I want to escape. I want to escape. So that's it. Those Tinghua paintings. The moment they left me, the madness began surging rapidly. Those Tinghua also serve to protect my mind within the sun and moon heavenly domain. I instinctively understand that the existence of the head realm isn't all that different from the heavenly venerable of the underworld. Just as gazing directly at the true body of the heavenly venerable of the underworld requires at least the realm of a great net immortal, the same must apply to the head realm. To observe the head realm without issue, one would need at least the realm of a great net immortal. I am certain of it. With the senses of an upper immortal, I sense the true immortals within the sun and moon heavenly domain. The sword spear heavenly lord is currently wandering the bright cold realm. If they are inside the bright cold realm, it should be fine. Even if I use my power, I won't get caught. Kugugugugu. The mist of filling the heavens governing view surges forth. Filling the heavens governing view is the history of my failures, and an immortal art that enforces failure. In other words, it is a massive clump of misfortune. The mist of filling the heavens governing view condenses, forming the dark cloud of extinguishing divine, tribulating heavens. The powerful extinguishing divine, tribulating heavens engulfs the entire lightning sacred sea, taking control of it. Golden shaking bird hurriedly flies to the 100th floor of the lightning sacred sea, where the great desolate path lies, and tightly seals just the 100th floor with extinguishing divine, tribulating heavens. I cannot defeat you in battle, but I can at least protect this great desolate path from you. Even if it is you, I have managed the lightning sacred sea for 120,000 years. There is no way you can break through the one floor I defend with extinguishing divine, tribulating heavens. Ha ha, do as you wish. Kururum. I let out a dragon's roar, my body writhing as I exit the lightning sacred sea. Inside the lightning sacred sea, the extinguishing divine, tribulating heavens I had spewed out lingers, placing the entire lightning sacred sea within my grasp. Kugugugugu. Outside the lightning sacred sea, I reveal my main body. Kugugugugu. Oh. With my front claws and tail, I grip the entire lightning sacred sea and begin exerting force. Gwawag. And then, kuguguguguguk. The lightning sacred sea, wedged within the dimensional rift, begins to shift. I can feel golden shaking bird panicking. What are you doing, you lunatic? So this isn't enough, huh? Behind me, the form of the three great ultimates emerges. The three great ultimates is a bowl. What I fill it with and how I wield it is solely my will. Recalling Hien Mu's advice, I pour the authority of the history pathway and the immortal Tao of repentant enlightenment into the three great ultimates. The three great ultimates shine brilliantly, beginning to boil over. Then, I overlay the wheel on top of it. Coom. This is. The moment I summon the wheel, I understand. Something has changed. Unlike before, the three great ultimates and the wheel are no longer clumsily overlapping. The wheel encircles the three great ultimates, absorbing the light it radiates while emitting a gentle starlight. The wheel absorbs so much light that, for a moment, the three great ultimates appears dim. A darkened three great ultimates at the center of the wheel. It is the moment that symbol rises behind my head. This is Kugugugugugu. The entirety of the sun and moon heavenly domain starts to tremble. Damn it. The sword spear heavenly lord within the middle realm has noticed something wrong. I didn't think it'd be strong enough to shake the sun and moon heavenly domain. Maybe this is my fault. I seem to have underestimated the authority at the peak of great net immortal too much. Oh. Sensing the anomaly in the lightning sacred sea, something familiar flies towards me from afar. I feel like I'm breaking out into cold sweat. Sword-guided star ring. It is the sword spear heavenly lord's decisive move. Sensing that decisive technique, I pour out all my strength, exploding the power within my body. Quarrurum. My immortal beast true blood explodes, granting me the full authority of an immortal beast. With it comes transcendent brute strength that floods into my arm. Kadudududuk. The ring finger of Yang Su Jin, which had been wedged into the entrance of the sun and moon heavenly domain, starts to move. Why, you're insane. Stop. Stop it now. What are you doing? What in the world are you doing? Golden shaking bird trembles violently, panicking on the 100th layer. Golden shaking bird, stricken with fear at my power, trembles violently on the 100th floor and is seized by convulsions. But I, half consumed by madness due to the head realm's poison, laugh loudly and draw forth even greater strength. And finally, Jiuing, the lightning sacred sea, which had been blocking the gap between the sun and moon heavenly domain and the heavenly king heavenly domain, is pulled out. This can't be. It's not something that can be pulled out with sheer strength. It carries Master's prophecy. Normally, not even immortal lords, let alone a great net immortal, can recklessly pull out Yang Sujin's ring finger. This is because the prophecy of Yang Sujin anchored the lightning sacred sea to this space. But I am different. As long as I have the bare minimum strength, I can pull it out. Kururung. Because I have learned extinguishing divine, tribulating heavens. In a way, I am also Yang Sujin's successor. Chi-yi. Pulling the lightning sacred sea from the dimensional rift, I swallow Yang Sujin's ring finger whole. Golden shaking bird sobs uncontrollably, having a seizure, but the gap between our weight class has grown far too wide for her to resist. Convinced she figured out what I intend to do, she cries out in anguish. Master, Master, please forgive me, Master. I couldn't stop this lunatic madman from offering your relic to Radiance Hall. Please forgive me, Master. Worry not. After swallowing the entire lightning sacred sea in a single gulp, I transform back into my human form and laugh. Yang Sujin's remains will return to his rightful successor. With those words, I glance back once, then step towards the entrance leading to the Heavenly King, Heavenly Domain. The moment my foot touches down, I feel the sword-guided star rain flying from behind, exploding the entrance. The sword spear Heavenly Lord must have thrown the decisive technique in shock, ironically, but now it means they will now have to rebuild the entrance themselves if they wish to follow. Chua-ok. Countless rays of light brush past me, and before long, I reach a new heavenly domain. This is the Heavenly King Heavenly Domain, the stronghold of the Radiance Supreme Deity. Who are you? How did you cross over from the Sun and Moon Heavenly Domain without notice? A true immortal, seemingly at the vestige liberation immortal level, glares at me, standing right in front of the teleportation formation of the new Heavenly Domain. Why hasn't the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord arrived? More importantly, is there an issue with the teleportation formation on the other side? There should be some kind of respo. Enough rambling. Where's the teleportation formation that leads to the bearing tree Heavenly Domain? I cut off the rambling vestige liberation immortal and ask, you, hurry up and speak. This immortal is in a hurry. A suspicious bastard, I see. First, since you came from the Sun and Moon Heavenly Domain, you will be subject to a 100,000-year imprisonment. As you are imprisoned for 100,000 years, we will examine to see if any poison energy leaks from you before deciding your disposition. We must assess if you are a true immortal, someone who could be a threat to Radiance Hall, and all this pointless rambling since earlier. I cut off the true immortal's words once again and extend my hand. Quadaduk. My will turns directly into strength, gripping the true immortal's divine spirit body, which is several times larger than me. Though I grasp only the void, marks spread across the entirety of the true immortal's divine spirit body, as if clenched in my hand. I'm asking you. Kugagugagu. I release my momentum, pressing down on the true immortal. No. Facing my pressure head-on, the vestige liberation immortal grits their teeth before shouting. All divine spirits of Radiance Hall, hear me. A suspicious upper immortal has descended from the Sun and Moon Heavenly Domain. All gather and capture this intruder. Huh. I click my tongue. You could have just told me where the teleportation formation to the Heavenly Domain is. It would have been better for the both of us. Why insist on drinking the punishment wine? Ahaha. Someone like you dares to mock this immortal, who is affiliated with Radiance Hall. Soon, tens, hundreds of true immortals and upper immortals in Radiance Hall will gather here. Upper immortals? True immortals? Won't any great net immortals, heavenly lords, or a supreme deity descend? Ha ha ha. Why would we need a great net immortal to capture the likes of you? Most of them are currently exploring the outer sea or handling other crucial missions, so the majority are away from the Heavenly King Heavenly Domain. Ho, I smile. Do you think someone like you can overcome sheer numbers? In the prophetic battles of true immortals, numerical tactics are absolute. No matter how strong you are, you cannot stand against Radiance Hall. We have hundreds of true immortals alone. We have dozens of upper immortals, and even the renowned 33 heavenly resplendent treasure immortals will descend. Soon, you will be bowing your head and licking my feet. Rambling. Stop your babbling. Or are you reciting some kind of rambling mantra? I block the true immortal's maw with filling the heavens governing view and begin exerting strength. Kadudaduk. The massive divine spirit body of the true immortal compresses. Soon, the compressed divine spirit body shrinks to the size of my fist and falls onto my palm. Quaduk. Clenching the divine spirit body with a strong grip, I speak. Even if a supreme deity appears, I have a move prepared. If immortal lords or great nets descend, I intended to escape using the realm of heavenly escape I glimpsed through Hien Mu in my past life. But I smack my lips. Right now, fighting multiple immortal lords or great nets would be tough. But I am more than confident in escaping. However, a radiance hall with none of them here, and only the likes of true immortals and upper immortals. The divine spirit body wriggles, seeming to still ramble something, but I ignore it. Golden shaking bird wails bitterly, her cries filled with resentment. You crazy madman! How will you shake off the pursuit of the upper immortals? How will you withstand their prophetic bombardments? And the 33 heavenly resplendent treasure immortals. Even Master, when he was a great net immortal, had to flee with his tail tucked between his legs against their joint attack. Why in the world did you create such a mess? Now, all of Master's relics stored in the lightning sacred seat will fall into the jaws of Radiance Hall. Ego, don't worry, golden shaking bird. Facing the hundreds of divine spirits descending towards me, I take a step forward. In one hand, I hold the Northern Dipper Sealing Immortal Flag. In the other, the colorless glass sword. A sly smile spreads across my face. One reason I charged into the Heavenly King Heavenly Domain is because it'd be the fastest to pass through it with Golden Shaking Bird to meet John Myung-hoon, and then move across all heavenly domains through the Great Desolate Path. But that isn't the only reason. Ever since becoming an upper immortal, power has been constantly exploding within me. It doesn't stop there. The erupting power feeds into the 3 great ultimates, amplifies through the wheel, and now feels as if it could explode at any moment. In the beginning, I wanted to test my skill and strength by charging through the Heavenly King Heavenly Domain using Heavenly Escape. But now, it turns out there are no immortal lords in the Heavenly King Heavenly Domain. In that case, there is no need for Heavenly Escape, which leaves me with only one thing left to do. The level of a great net immortal Yang Su-jin. If it's the current me, I can fully overpower it. Glancing around at the true immortals of Radiance Hall beginning to swarm towards me, I smirk. Countless prophetic stars are born, aiming to suppress me. But I pay no mind and step forward, drawing out my power. Immortal Beast Authority. History Repetition. A figure from within filling the heavens governing view rises. It is a figure from my past life. The connections that caused the failure of my Radiance 10 Heavens formula. It is the figure of Yi. Now I understand. The true method of wielding the wheel. A part of it finally bursts forth from my grasp. Kurururum. I change back into my main body. A colossal dragon of mist, its head formed of candle flames, rises within the cosmic space of the Heavenly King Heavenly Domain. I open my jaws wide, and deep within, Ye's form appears. I then begin turning the wheel. In Ye's figure, brought forth through history repetition, takes physical form under the influence of the wheel. Simply kneading history as I please is not the end of the wheel. The true authority of the wheel is, after distorting history, embedding a new branch of history within the twisted history. It is incorporating new possibilities into history. The heart of Yi of the previous cycle now manifests in this space with the impermanent sword. Using severing mountain swordsmanship cedarwood, in Ye's heart is properly embedded within the mist of the canvas of myriad forms and connections. In the next moment, Jium, an arrow created by Yi pierces straight through a vestige liberation immortal of Radiance Hall who had just descended, bursting them apart. FROMTHISMOMENTFO RTH. My authority, amplified by the 3 great ultimates and the wheel, covers the entire world. Golden shaking bird falls silent at the sight, while the rambling divine spirit caught in my grasp trembles in sheer terror. I have made my decision. I will carve through the Heavenly King Heavenly Domain head-on and boldly make my way to the Bearing Tree Heavenly Domain to meet John Myung-hoon. SHALLWEBEGINSUNLIGHTHUNTING. Tukwong. Shattering the immortal body of a second divine spirit in a single blow, I roar towards the Heavenly King Heavenly Domain. Chapter 590, Mount Sumeru 3. Chapter 590, Mount Sumeru 3. I expand the senses of Earth. The plane of Qi within the Heavenly King Heavenly Domain enters entirely into my sensory range. Truly, horrifyingly vast. Hey, I'm asking again. Where is the teleportation formation to the Bearing Tree Heavenly Domain? I briefly release the mouth of the vestige liberation immortal I've captured and ask the question. Do you think I would tell you that? No matter how powerful you are, there's no way you can get through this many divine spirits. You'll soon be hung upside down and judged. Never. Never will someone like you make me talk. Sorry, but, as expected, they ramble on without giving me a single piece of the information I want. But it doesn't matter. Their history as a true immortal spans roughly 900,000 years. They are just a mere youngster who has only been a true immortal for 900,000 years. Perhaps because of that, it's fortunate they know little about the authority of immortal beasts. Immortal Beast Authority. History Induction, Li Shu Yoda. Careeric. The Taiji spins. At the same time, this brat's history begins to unravel. Sensing what I'm about to do, the Vestige Liberation Immortal starts convulsing. They try everything to cover or block their past, but it's useless. History Induction, one of the authorities of immortal beasts, allows me to read the desired information from a chosen target to gain wisdom. Even with the senses of Earth that reads history, not all histories can be read. Only the history of beings significantly lower in rank than oneself, or the history of beings related to oneself. However, immortal beasts are entities where history itself is power. Therefore, through existing mediums, it is possible to read the history of beings unrelated or even higher in rank than themselves. A method of reading the required history and acquiring information through firmly seizing a medium. That is the authority of history induction. For most immortal beasts, the medium is usually the energy of the plane of Qi, or the immortal Tao they control. But in my case, I see it. My medium is intent. The moment something is recalled, I can use that intent as a medium to read the target's history. It's a form of history induction that most other immortal beasts can't use, possible only because I have control over the plane of soul. The Vestige Liberation Immortal tries to shake off my authority, but it's futile. Like how telling someone not to think of an elephant makes them think of one first. In trying to resist my history induction, they can't help but recall the information I seek. And through that intent, I read their history and discover the locations of the teleportation formations within the Heavenly King Heavenly Domain. Found it. Keying. After confirming the location of the teleportation formation leading to the bearing tree Heavenly Domain, I grabbed the Vestige Liberation Immortal who provided the information and hurl them with all my strength. Quong. The Vestige Liberation Immortal collides with another true immortal who has just descended, exploding. From within the explosion, I release the immortal art sun shooting into the two disoriented true immortals. Tukwang. Pierced through simultaneously by the immortal art of sun shooting, both true immortals vanish. Out of my way. Do-do-do-do-do. Swinging the 7 stars harnessing God banner, I begin to devastate the surroundings with all my might. I prophesize. In the name of this immortal, I prophesize. O star of prophecy, bind that being. Countless true immortals vomit forth stars of prophecy. But it's useless. As long as they belong to Radiance Hall, as long as they are even slightly connected to the power of light, they cannot evade the immortal art of sun shooting. The immortal art of sunlight hunting was born to deny light itself, carrying the weight of 10 million years of history. Tukwang, 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 Tukwang. If I were to give sun shooting another name, I would name it this without hesitation. Radiance denial, Gongming, Foding. That is the true nature and authority of sun shooting. The arrows of sun shooting pierce straight through the stars of prophecy and go on to pierce the true immortals behind them as well. We cannot stand by and watch this tyranny. Gradually, upper immortals begin to appear within the battlefield, but they too are clad in the power of light. Horarurik. In the name of this immortal, I prophesize. Scarlet flames ignite, engulfing my entire body. I see. Is this the prophecy of a heaven immortal? A powerful will reverberates from within the flames. My flame shall never part from you while within the Heavenly King Heavenly Domain. I prophesize. Light flashes. At that moment, a spear of light, forged from radiance, shoots across distant space-time and pierces my chest. As it drives through my chest, I comprehend the prophecy imbued within the spear of light. The first strike shall pierce you without fail. A thrown spear bound by an absolute condition. Following this, countless heaven immortals begin to launch their attacks at me. Individually, none of the attacks seem particularly threatening. But with fate woven into each strike, imbued with absoluteness and inevitability, they become terrifying assaults. I see. I comprehend the prophecy methods of heaven immortals. From heaven immortal onward, the form of the prophetic star changes. They no longer carve the future they dream into a star, but directly imbue their prophecies into their immortal arts. This scarlet flame, endlessly burning my body, does not carry its prophecy within a star, but within this very fire. The spear that just pierced me was the same. So, for heaven immortals, their immortal art itself becomes the star of prophecy. Of course, there are always unique ones. In the name of this immortal, I prophesize. One heaven immortal with their entire body wreathed in pale flames forms a star of prophecy. That star of prophecy grows larger and larger, then positions itself beneath me and unleashes an immense attraction force. The enemy of Radiance Hall shall not escape the star of prophecy I have cast within the Heavenly King Heavenly Domain. Do-do-do-do-do. My body grows heavy. That star of prophecy is pulling my body. A powerful gravitational force seizes me and refuses to let go. As expected, the form of prophecy is most efficient in the form of a star. In other words, the star of prophecy is the basics, while infusing prophecy directly into immortal arts is a specialized application. But I simply smile and begin to move. Within the combined assault of countless heaven immortals and true immortals, the wheel starts to turn. Do. I revise. The immortal art impermanence sword envelopes my entire body. My whole being becomes wrapped in a sharp sword. A sword is double-edged. This is the nature of the sword and a truth that all swordsmen must remember. Every swordsman, in wielding their sword, must be prepared to be cut by it as well. Quadudaduck. My entire body is cut apart. As what has been received has accumulated, so too for what will be given. Cheek. In that instant, the scarlet flames clinging to me, along with the countless prophecies, scatter and vanish. Yet none of them suffer any backlash. The wills of the upper immortals shake the surroundings violently. How could this? He is using revision. Through revision, he has altered the form of our attack. That's right. I merely changed the form of the attack I received. Proof of this lies in one of the scars, where the searing pain of the scarlet flame still burns endlessly. And the reason I was able to change the form of the upper immortals' prophecies like this is precisely because the revision I used inflicted even greater pain upon me. But it doesn't matter. You call this pain? None of the attacks the upper immortals launched at me, not a single one properly struck me. Since I have received, I shall return. As this immortal received misfortune, I shall return it as blessings. I turn around. An upper immortal engulfed in pale flames. The upper immortal, who has trained the basic technique known as prophetic star, flinches in shock. Take today's pain and use it to accumulate yourself. Retribution execution. Horroric. Glass true fire bursts out from my entire body. With it, an explosion erupts. Quagwagwagwang. The entire expanse of space-time collapses. Evade. And no, I can't dodge this. What is this? The screams of countless divine spirits echo throughout the Heavenly King heavenly domain. The explosion surges. Since this is rightful retribution, no one can escape. At the same time, what I received is undeniable pain and calamity. However, since what I give are blessings, even if it is returned thousands of times over, there is no problem. What I've given is glass true fire. There will be some pain, but there is definite enlightenment regarding the immortal Tao of repentant enlightenment. It is an undeniable blessing. The divine spirits convulse wildly, letting out screams of agony. I gaze at the divine spirit, cloaked in pale flames. This is a little surprising. I didn't expect there to be someone in Radiance Hall walking the same immortal Tao of repentant enlightenment as me. An upper immortal who accumulated their fundamental skills as a true immortal and determines victory solely through stars of prophecy. That must be this pale heaven immortal. Keying. At that moment, the wheel begins to spin even more frantically. The figure of Yi grows even larger. Yi, gripping the bow with imposing dignity, pulls back the bowstring. Behind him, the countless connections add their strength. Shoot. The voice of Hamjin from the past life resounds. Tukwang. I continue firing sun shooting towards the true immortals writhing in pain from the glass true fire. Tukung, Tukwang. Tukwang. True immortals burst apart. Upper immortals burst apart. I look at the pale upper immortal who, even in pain, endures and charges at me. As expected, appear walking the immortal Tao of the mountain has perseverance. An immortal art that denies radiance. But if the power borrowed from Radiance Hall is severed, it is nothing. Jiung. For the first time, the upper immortal wreathed in pale flame deflects the immortal art of sun shooting. But I reach out my hand. Quadaduk. Guff. They are true words. However, I grab their face and smile. Without borrowing the power of radiance, could the likes of you even think to oppose me? Quadudaduk. Quawa. Do you not realize that the only reason your prophecy worked even partially was because you borrowed the power of radiance? DONOTBERIDICULOUS. Kugagugagu. A star of prophecy takes root within their body. I prophesize. As long as what I have accumulated does not break, I can stand against this one. The weight class of the pale heaven immortal begins to grow. Becoming a pale giant, they try to resist me. I smile faintly. I am proud of you, fellow peer of the same immortal Tao. That is the end. I explode. Glass true fire blooms like a flower, overwhelming the pale heaven immortal. From within that explosion, I am born anew. Kuaaaaah. Roaring within the eruption, my colossal form, now thousands of times larger due to the explosion, reveals itself. Having grown so immense that I can now trap an entire stellar system beneath a single foot, I spin the wheel, and the three great ultimates to their peak. Using the three great ultimates, I divine descent the power of repentant enlightenment and history, using that power to its limits. When that power is fully exhausted, I use the wheel to rewrite, pulling forth the version of myself from the past when I was filled with strength, and attach it to the history of my current self. When that power is spent again, I rewrite once more. Thus, I draw infinite power from the past, the pinnacle of unfairness. That is the authority of the wheel. I endlessly explode, rampaging wildly. Oh! With a single sweep of my tail, a quarter of the starlight in the sky crumbles down. Once more, upper immortals from Radiance Hall descend. But they cannot withstand me now that I am fully unleashing my power. With a stomp of my forepaw, their stars of prophecy and immortal bodies burst apart one after another. It isn't merely a difference in strength. It is because my body is imbued with the immortal art of sun shooting. I tear. I detonate. I pop. I cut. I bite. I slam down. With each and every strike, constellations tremble, and immortal bodies are ripped apart. But these are beings that will eventually revive as long as their prophecies remain. So, without a shred of hesitation, I continue the great massacre across the Heavenly King Heavenly Domain. Time flows on, and I carve my way through the Heavenly King Heavenly Domain, turning everything to ashes without pausing for even a moment. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, and finally, on the 10th day, Quarrurum. After crushing yet another divine spirit charging at me, I spot the teleportation formation of the Heavenly King Heavenly Domain in the distance and let out a deafening roar. I am almost there. It's just when I think so. Kuga-guga-gugu. Beyond the teleportation formation, immense presences begin pouring out. Aha! Are you the last ones? The powerful immortals of the 33 exalted. They seem to be the so-called 33 heavenly resplendent treasure immortals, or whatever. Each one is a being on the level of an upper immortal. But I am not afraid. Upper immortals? No matter how many gather, none can rival me as I am now. That's what I thought. Chiak, 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 chiak. Huh? The 33 exalted upper immortals all join their palms together. Woo-woo. They draw a circular formation. Along with it, a very faint image of the black snake biting its tail settles into the formation they've drawn. Wait, this isn't it. The moment I see it, my mind, which has been gleefully wielding violence and authority, turns cold. This isn't it. This is truly dangerous. I can't see the future. Literally, the celestial energy is no longer readable. It feels as if the plane of fate has been completely sealed off. A pitch-black darkness world where nothing exists. That is the celestial energy now before my eyes. Keying. The next moment, light shines down on me. First comes the 5 elements. Lights carrying the attributes of heat, heaviness, growth, cold, and sharpness sweep across my entire body. Next is the 5 blessings. The blessings and misfortunes of the 5 blessings and 6 extremes become a misfortune that traps me. This is the flow of prophecy of Radiance Hall that Bloodine spoke of. Prophecies that pass through various omens, examination of doubts, 8 paths, royal perfection, and once again return to the 5 elements. Those countless prophecies twist and intertwine, forming bars of radiance that imprison me. Before I realize it, the surrounding environment has changed. This place is a new energy, a new constellation. I feel a chill spread through my entire body as I understand what they've done. Heavenly Domain. That's right. Their prophecies have become the bars that imprison me, and these interwoven and tangled bars have created a small heavenly domain that confines me. Despite calling it a heavenly domain, its size is not that large. It is no bigger than a single galaxy. Yet, this is clearly a miniature heavenly domain, one that looks like a compressed version of the Heavenly King Heavenly Domain. There, the beings known as the 33 heavenly resplendent treasure immortals raise the form of a black snake biting its tail, and all point at me without emotion. Immortal art. The will of the treasure immortals resounds. Lightspeed enforcement, Gongsu Changzhu. What is this? My power is heavily restrained. Soon, one of the treasure immortals hurls a spear of light toward me. The spear of radiance flies towards me at literal light speed. But for beings at our level, the speed of light is slow, so I try to calmly dodge. That's when it happens. Quatching. No matter how I move, I can't escape the speed of light. All I manage to do is barely twist my body and let the spear of light graze past my flesh. This is, I see. It is an immortal art that forces all beings within this place, that can't be determined whether it is a barrier or a heavenly domain, to be bound to the maximum speed of light. From now on, within this space, I can only move at the speed of light. Woo-woo. I try to unfold the ground shrinking using attraction force, but it's as if all the attraction force within this small heavenly domain belongs solely to them. As the treasure immortals cast their will, the attraction force slips from my grasp. So, some decent ones have shown up. With those words, the battle begins. Kurururum. One of the 33 heavenly resplendent treasure immortals seems to pull in a nearby stellar system, then hurls it towards me. A powerful attraction force pulls me toward it, but I resist with the authority of explosion, breaking free from the star system's attraction force. The true value of the three great ultimates isn't simply about unleashing brute force. Seeing the form of the black snake, my excitement fades and I collect my thoughts. Perhaps because I've torn through the Heavenly King heavenly domain in a burst of madness, the frenzy has mostly subsided. With a calm mind, I focus my will. Immortal beast form, change. Kuguguguk. The immortal beast's true body compresses and shifts shape. It somewhat resembles my human transformation form. However, my body remains massive, comparable to the size of Earth. My hair still burns like the candle flame of glass true fire. My white robe turns into a hazy mist that wraps around me, and from my lower back sprouts the tail of candle shadow. My fingers and toes have claws growing out of them like those of a beast, exuding a fierce aura. Now in a half-human, half-beast form, I grip the colorless glass sword and channel my mind fully into it. Immediately after, Quaong, I explode my feet, stomping off space, and charge straight at one of the treasure immortals closest to me, swinging the colorless glass sword. The glass sword, overlapped with the impermanent sword, changes its trajectory in a twisting, winding manner, pouncing on the treasure immortal. The upper half of the treasure immortal's body is cleaved clean off, and I steady my stance and accelerate my consciousness. So, the attraction force of this world is on your side. It doesn't matter. I can use explosions. And most importantly, my martial arts still remain with me. The pinnacle of martial arts I witnessed from Hien Mu in the past life. I unfold a fragment of that peak. In this world where time has accelerated to its limits, light fades away and only darkness remains. Yet, within this darkness world, I can clearly see the path I must take. Intent really is an interesting thing. When one is a peak master, the optimized path is shown through the intent of murderous intent. But do you know what's funny? A first-rate master at most by the standards of mortal humans becomes a peak master by clearly seeing their own murderous intent and discovering the optimized path. The very idea is absurd. If intent alone makes one a peak master, then what is the point of training the sword or refining martial arts? Why make any effort at all? Why not just train intent alone for hundreds, thousands of days and eventually become invincible? Now I finally understand. Intent holds neither strength nor wisdom. What has always possessed strength and wisdom is this world. And the heart, too, is without any strength or wisdom, simply transparent. It merely transparently and purely reflects the world itself. And what is seen back after reflecting the world is intent. I become transparent. I calm my entire mind, entering no heart. In my battle with Hien Mu, I was outmatched in every aspect. It wasn't a matter of my cultivation falling short. Hien Mu simply reflected everything I had, emotionlessly. Keithiaing. In this world accelerated to its extremes, where only darkness remains. There, my colorless glass sword emits light. This is a light that shines only for me. A light accumulated solely through my own repentant enlightenment. It sweeps away the lightless darkness world, pushing against the opponent. Why does my immortal art, the impermanent sword, possess the power of retribution? I recall the reason once more. To reflect it all. Because if I can transparently reflect the entire world and return everything that is given and taken, that would surely be true freedom. Shirkong, I feel it. With this strike, one of the 33 heavenly resplendent treasure immortals is annihilated. I sense their bewilderment. Their distance from me grows. Within this heavenly domain, they are gods. Distance means nothing to them. In this small heavenly domain, as large as a galaxy, they instantly manipulate space and stretch the distance between me and them to the farthest ends of the domain. In this situation, where even the ground shrinking technique is unusable, chasing them is utterly impossible. But I quietly close my eyes and recall the Hien Mu from my past life. The sight of the sea of stars being severed by her single strike. Can I do it too? While pondering whether I can or not, the answer suddenly becomes clear. I see. From the very start, she was reflecting me. Everything she showed me in my past life was a reflection of my own potential. Therefore, if Hien Mu could do it, so can I. Step by step, I recall Hien Mu. I recall my own image contained in her movements. I can do it. Holding only that resolve, I swing the colorless glass sword. Sikong. Immediately after, I sense that most of the 33 heavenly resplendent treasure immortals, gathered at the far edge of the heavenly domain, are cut down by this single sword. Everything lying along the trajectory between me and them is severed. I will contain it. This infinite power, summoned through the three great ultimates and the wheel. I will contain it solely at the tip of the sword. Staring at the impermanent sword, honed sharper than anything else, my eyes gleam. Why must people strive and put in effort? Why can't one become the greatest under the heavens by polishing only their heart? It must be because I am alive in this world. As long as I live, I must live according to the rules of this world. A transparent mirror can reflect the sky only because it faces the sky and lies beneath it. Every being living in this world must sweat under the light, ceaselessly and diligently building their mountain through effort. Only by refining and polishing everything given by the heavens, heart, intent, and all, until they are smooth and clear. Only then can something be reflected. This is the truth of this world. The only ones who could dream of becoming the greatest under the heavens by refining only their heart would be none other than the dead. Radiance Hall detests the way of salt. But I know this for certain. While there may be no good or evil in the way of salt that builds mountains through sweat, there is something undeniable. That is the truth. The way of salt, the act of accumulating, is undeniably one of the fundamental components that make up this world. No one can deny that. Therefore, you all cannot deny what I have accumulated. The 33 heavenly resplendent treasure immortals, once slashed and left in tatters by my blade, begin healing themselves using the rules of the small heavenly domain and charge at me again. Do not try to deny me. Against the 33 heavenly resplendent treasure immortals, who try to deny me, I begin my sword dance. Chime. They enforce me to the speed of light, yet they themselves surpass it, engaging me in close combat. A clear sword cry resounds. I meet their strength with only a limited speed, while they continue to grow faster and faster. But no matter how fast they become, not a single one of their attacks reaches me. Reflect it. The immortal art of retribution reflects their killing intent more clearly than ever, revealing the answers to me. As long as they hold the heart to harm me, the retribution of the impermanence sword will always respond, reflecting the optimal answer. A true ultimate countermeasure, surpassing even the optimal trajectory that intent reveals by tens of thousands of times. This is the result when the retribution of the impermanent sword is applied to martial arts. Their speed gradually increases. But the ones who grow more flustered are not me, but them. Each time they collide with me, each time they utter a prophecy to bind me, each time they dig a trap for me, my impermanent sword grows stronger, clashing against them, their prophecies, in this very world. The enlightenment of foolish old man moves mountains is being revealed within the impermanent sword to its utmost limit. And it's when the power drawn through foolish old man moves mountains reaches a certain singularity. Immortal cultivation is repentant enlightenment. Someone begins to recite the phenomena extinguishing mantra. It is not me, yet I cannot find the one reciting it. Like tiny grains of salt gathering to form the sea. Who is it? I see the 33 heavenly resplendent treasure immortals trembling in utter fear and confusion. Gradually, the attraction force of this small heavenly domain reaches its peak. The attraction force of this small heavenly domain should only respond to the will of the 33 heavenly resplendent treasure immortals. Build mountains through repentant enlightenment. But someone's will is completely ignoring that and seizing control of this world. Ah, I see. I realize it within my sword dance. Under the attraction force that has reached its peak, the small heavenly domain begins to contract. All is one. Through foolish old man moves mountains. Through transparent reflection, has it connected? I recall my master's teachings. That immortal arts is ultimately about connecting to the one. Building a mountain of salt is perhaps the fastest way to reach the heavens. I finally realize who is reciting this mantra. It is my canvas of myriad forms and connections. It is my history. The mountain of repentant enlightenment I have accumulated now opens its mouth and recites the phenomena extinguishing mantra in my stead. Before I knew it, I began reflecting the entire world. And because I reflect even myself, the history that has been reflected began to open its mouth. What happens when a mirror that clearly reflects all things turns to reflect itself? The mirror reflects another mirror, connecting endlessly. Yes, it connects infinitely. Flash. The small heavenly domain contracts around me, who dances the sword dance of foolish old man moves mountains. The world narrows, grows hotter, and begins filling with light and heat. The 33 heavenly resplendent treasure immortals fight back with desperate strength. They attempt to manipulate the laws of the heavenly domain through the faint form of the black snake biting its tail, but it is futile, because the act of accumulating is a fundamental component of this world that no rule can alter or ignore. I finally halt my sword dance and half open my eyes. The endlessly unfolding sword dance ceases, and the tip of my sword now lingers at a certain place. It is the very spot where I had first begun my sword dance. At last, I understand. So this is it. The perfect circle that Hien Mu had once shown me. Today, I have succeeded in drawing that circle. The moment I realized this, the small heavenly domain, compressed by the phenomena extinguishing mantra, shrinks into a single point, turning the 33 heavenly resplendent treasure immortals within into nothing but a dot at the tip of my sword. From within that dot, the piercing screams of the treasure immortals echo. Tomb. After hurling the compressed treasure immortals, in their small heavenly domain far into the distance with a flick of my sword, a clear laugh escapes me. I am now completely free from the madness of the head realm. And through today's events, I have fully internalized the enlightenments I gained from my past life and gathered all the fragments of my martial arts and authority, making them completely my own. Thank you. I offer sincere gratitude to this world that allowed me this enlightenment. To the Heavenly King, Heavenly Domain. To Mount Sumeru. Even to the black snake biting its tail, the very symbol of the Radiant's supreme deity, that briefly quelled the madness of the head realm. It is gratitude from the depths of my heart. Thus, feeling refreshed, it's when I turn to head towards the teleportation formation leading to the bearing tree, Heavenly Domain. Tuck. Someone grabs my shoulder. Huda. Turning around, I see the sword spear, Heavenly Lord. Hello. Puckwhack. I am split in half and killed. Chapter 591, Mount Sumeru 4. Chapter 591, Mount Sumeru 4. The fifth seat of the Radiant's 8 Immortals, the sword spear, Heavenly Lord, gazes silently at Seo Eun-hyun after slicing him in half. The great devil who wreaked havoc upon Heavenly King, Heavenly Domain, committing a grand massacre. The sword spear, Heavenly Lord, reads the wisdom of the being who died by their hand. Crystal glass being, Seo Eun-hyun. That is the name of the one now lying in halves. O sword spear, Heavenly Lord. O great one. Truly, to have descended for our sake and slay that devil. The divine spirits, who had either fled or hidden from Seo Eun-hyun's rampage, now emerge and begin to praise the sword spear, Heavenly Lord. Be silent. But the sword spear, Heavenly Lord, cuts off all their voices with a cold tone. I did not kill him. He escaped. The sword spear, Heavenly Lord, radiates silver-white light as they look towards the teleportation formations at the edge of the Heavenly King, Heavenly Domain. Their appearance carries a trace of fury, causing the divine spirits to tremble in fear. The moment this immortal sought to annihilate him, he slipped into the true domain of death, shedding his shell and fleeing. What remains before their eyes now is nothing more than a husk, a pitiful remnant even less than the vestiges that appears when advancing to true immortality. Yet, the sword spear, Heavenly Lord, still reaches out and condenses even this scrap into above their palm. The remains of Seo Eun-hyun merge with the vestige the sword spear, Heavenly Lord, possesses. Did anyone recognize that the one who just escaped is the return of Vast Cold, whom Radiance Hall has placed a bounty upon? Their words send the divine spirits into panic. We do not know. None of us could recognize him. We truly did not know he was the return of Vast Cold. From what we know, that being had only just advanced to true immortality in the Sun and Moon Heavenly Domain. For the past 100,000 years, the only one known to have practiced the formula of the Radiant's 10 heavens is the Madam Ghost Mother. Kong Min-hee of the Twin holding Heavenly Domain. Is the Great One saying that upper immortal was him? Indeed. I do not know what trickery he used, but it seems he managed to advance to upper immortal without anyone realizing. The sword spear, Heavenly Lord, glares into the distance, their eyes narrowing. When an Ender enters the domain of Radiance Hall, the Heavenly King, Heavenly Domain, all 8 of the Radiant's 8 Immortals are alerted. Yet, despite Seo Eun-hyun running rampant in the Heavenly King, Heavenly Domain, I knew nothing. Moreover, even after he advanced to upper immortal, none of us noticed or could respond. A fierce light bursts from the sword spear, Heavenly Lord's eyes. So that's it. It's the immortal title. The title crystal glass being was hiding his existence from us, shielding him from our gaze. Fortunately, it is impossible for an Ender to completely hide their presence in the Heavenly King, Heavenly Domain, causing his existence to be faintly revealed. The immortal title crystal glass being. As the sword spear, Heavenly Lord reflects on this title, they recall the one who must have bestowed it. Hi and Rang, are you not sick of this? Are you being broken again? Revealing their fury, the sword spear, Heavenly Lord, turns towards the elephant nose Heavenly Domain. If he has fled beyond the Heavenly King, Heavenly Domain, that immortal title will make him untraceable once more. Must this era's Hi and Rang be discarded as well? There is neither light nor darkness, a world of nothingness that no brush nor tongue could describe. I Blanqui come to my senses there. This place is. It is the domain of purity. Did I survive? TSDS. Regaining consciousness within the domain of purity, I force my body to move with all my strength. Say what? As I surface from the domain of purity, what comes into view is the interior of a teleportation formation's dimensional gate. I am flying from the Heavenly King, Heavenly Domain, towards the bearing tree, Heavenly Domain. I let out a sigh of relief. I barely made it. If I hadn't refined Heavenly Escape even further after witnessing the high and moo of my past life, no. If I hadn't reflected on my martial arts after seeing her, I would have withered away, trapped in the small heavenly domain of the 33 heavenly resplendent treasure immortals, long before the sword spear heavenly lord. That was dangerous. It was an impulsive decision that even I am shocked by. To cross the heavenly king heavenly domain unprepared. Honestly, thinking back now, it was pure madness. I was out of my mind. Quite literally. It's something I would have never attempted without the madness of the head realm. Even if the great nets and immortal lords had left on expeditions, what if they had returned? Even though heavenly escape is the ultimate technique for concealment and escape, it is honestly difficult to use consecutively. If the immortal lords and great net immortals had returned, I would have to use heavenly escape consecutively just to flee. Even in hindsight, it was pure insanity. Chwa. I feel the ripple of dimensions. At the same time, the familiar bearing tree heavenly domain appears before me. I'll be continuously regressing to the sun and moon heavenly domain in the future. I can't keep doing this. I envelop the bearing tree heavenly domain with my earth tribe senses. Jithing. And perhaps having noticed me, I can sense Glass Peacock in the far distance hurtling towards me in a frenzy. Glass Peacock sends a voice transmission across vast spacetime. An immortal beast I'm seeing for the first time. You are wait. That mark engraved on your soul. What is that? This won't do. Stay right there. Stay right there. I ignore Glass Peacock and immediately move to the middle realm where John Myung-hoon is located. I'll have to quickly raise my realm to Great Net. For now, there's no other option. Or, perhaps, I could search for an artifact that shields the mind. If there's a decent immortal treasure, I could use that for mental protection. With that thought, I first vomit the lightning sacred sea from inside my body and speak to Golden Shaking Bird, who is trembling violently within it. How about it, Golden Shaking Bird? Didn't this immortal tell you? This immortal truly has no intention of lying. Now, lead me to where he is. Golden Shaking Bird meets my consciousness as though about to speak, but then shuts her mouth again. However, she doesn't resist like before. Perhaps she thinks that a being as strong as me has no reason to deceive someone like her. I glance behind me. Glass Peacock is closing in. Once we find Yang Sujin's successor, be ready to activate the Great Desolate Path immediately. Unless you want all of us caught and defiled for hundreds of thousands or millions of years by Glass Peacock. Golden Shaking Bird flinches the moment she hears the name Glass Peacock and opens her mouth. If what the Distinguished One says is true, I will prepare to activate the Great Desolate Path immediately. But if you're lying, I will hole myself up in the lightning sacred sea for eons and watch as you get violated by Glass Peacock. Sure, that won't happen, so do not worry. And one more thing. When you meet him, do not face him directly. After warning Golden Shaking Bird, I go to find John Myung-hoon. John Myung-hoon, located in one of the middle realms within the bearing tree heavenly domain, widens his eyes as I appear before him. Seoun-hyun. It's been a while, John Myung-hoon. I glance at John Myung-hoon. Unlike before, John Myung-hoon doesn't immediately advance to true immortality upon meeting me. I see. The heavenly venerable of the underworld, that cunning existence. Because John Myung-hoon is already a true immortal. Fate has twisted. Before our meeting, John Myung-hoon seems to have fused with the Tinghua painting I brought from my past life. Gaining confidence through that power, he has long since advanced to true immortality. The image of the Tinghua remains vividly imprinted on John Myung-hoon's fate. Steer. Ignoring my warning, Golden Shaking Bird bursts out from Lightning's Sacred Sea and dives straight into John Myung-hoon's arms. If this was before John Myung-hoon's tour immortal advancement, I would have punished her, but I'll let it slide. Fortunately, since he's already advanced, there won't be a problem even if he meets with us. Kururu. I look up at the sky of the middle realm, now starting to darken. Golden Shaking Bird, Glass Peacock. They are enveloping the entire Divine Thunder realm with their true body. It's cutting off our escape route. Immortal Art. Glass Avidya Advancement Light. Glass Peacock's signature technique unfolds. A light that turns everyone into fools. But I'm not foolish enough to fall for it this time. Immortal Art. Filling the heavens governing view. Tsua. A hazy mist blankets the entire Divine Thunder realm. The light that turns foes into fools and the mist that turns all into losers collide. Filling the heavens governing view blocks Glass Peacock's immortal art head-on, scattering and diffusing it completely. Golden Shaking Bird. It's Glass Peacock. If you don't want to be made a complete mess, move fast. Understood. Golden Shaking Bird sniffs John Myung-hoon's scent and makes a blissful smile as she sluggishly starts moving. Her slow pace makes my blood boil, but eventually, Golden Shaking Bird returns to the Lightning Sacred Sea and reaches out her hand on the 100th floor where the Great Desolate Path lies. Kugugugugu. Lightning Sacred Sea's Great Desolate Path starts resonating with Golden Shaking Bird's soul. Kururu. Glass Peacock's will clashes against mine. Impress, Eve. Is this the mark I left behind? Why don't I remember it? But fine. This immortal art of defeat. This history of failures and losses you've endured. This realm of immortal beasts you reached by carving through your bones. I really like it. I like it. I like it so much. Pat. Glass avidya advancement light shines even brighter, pouring down onto my filling the heavens governing view. What is your name, newbie? I keep my mouth shut, but in an instant, Glass Peacock draws out my history through some inexplicable means and uncovers my true name. I see. Crystal Glass Being, Seo Unhyun. Immortal Beast Candle Shadow, huh? Ah, so you're Crystal Glass Being. Nice to meet you. This immortal is Glass Peacock. My immortal title is Ignorant One, Wingzik Avidya Being. Remember it well, because this Ignorant One Glass Peacock is the one who will pin you beneath me and violate you for at least 5 million years. At the searing heat rising inside me, I bite my lip hard. I want to grab Golden Shaking Bird by the throat right now. Even if it's me, going head-to-head with Glass Peacock would only end up costing me. I could win, but the longer I stay near this seductive immortal beast, the more I feel my mind becoming tainted. I don't want this to drag on. A master who taught me is still a master, regardless. But something that is crude and vulgar is crude and vulgar regardless. I pour all my strength into filling the heavens governing view, scattering Glass Avidya advancement light. Ha 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 ha. You scattered, Salon, my light? Soon, I'll lay eggs, Salon, in you too, so wait for me. Of course, if you want, I can let you lay eggs, Salon, in me as well. This feeling, this history, the depth of this refinement and study. Damn it, Crystal Glass Being. I like you. Kurururum. Glass Peacock begins to descend into the Divine Thunder Realm. Countless living beings in the Divine Thunder Realm go into heat all at once, pairing off and mating. Some males with males, and females with females too. Regardless, I can feel Glass Peacock's presence corrupting the minds of the living beings. Glass Peacock's obsession starts to pierce through my filling the heavens governing view. I could intercept it with the impermanence sword, but I honestly don't want to. After all, the being before me is the past of one who had been my master. Golden Shaking Bird, quickly activate it before I kill you. I feel Golden Shaking Bird, now fully merged with the Great Desolate Path. Please just wait a little. Gathering energy takes. This damned thing. I rage at Golden Shaking Bird's leisure and flood the Great Desolate Path with a surge of my twilight, true energy. Ugh. Ubyabup. Please just wait a little, Elder. Ubup. Activate it now. Finally. Kwaon. Glass Peacock's heat pierces through my immortal art of failure. I love you, Crystal Glass Being. Let us become one. Damn it all. And just before Glass Peacock lunges at me, Great Desolate Path, activated. The world becomes engulfed in lightning. John Myung-hoon, Golden Shaking Bird, and I are transported into a world made entirely of lightning with the lightning sacred sea. Kurururum. The entire world is thunder and lightning. A familiar place. It's the teleportation space of lightning created when the Great Desolate Path activates. Aha, how was it, Elder? Quite impressive. Ghost face killing heavenly order. Kaiwa. The curses and pain I've endured rise to the level of immortal arts and spread across the entire Great Desolate Path. Kaiwa. Golden Shaking Bird screams, and I grit my teeth. You damn thing. You do this even knowing what kind of existence Glass Peacock is. Kwaaf. Kuahak. Kahag. Hukiak. Kiak. Heek. What are you doing? Don't you know that if I lose focus, we might return to where we originally were? Did you want to be violated by Glass Peacock? What kind of dog's hit were you pulling? Did you not realize that John Myung-hoon, you, and I almost ended up violated into a complete mess and turned into idiots by Glass Peacock? I shout at Golden Shaking Bird. Quachijijijik. Golden Shaking Bird creates an incarnation in the form of a small hummingbird and appears before me and John Myung-hoon, who are still trying to grasp the situation. First, I apologize for playing a prank on Master. However, please understand there was a reason for this prank. A reason? John Myung-hoon asks, puzzled, while I glare at Golden Shaking Bird. If you can't explain it properly, expect to receive the same pain you just felt. There is a proper reason. First, should I call you Senior Brother Crystal Glass Being? Forget it. I don't want to hear Senior Brother from you. Call me Elder. Understood. First, it was revenge for Elder not giving me any proper reason and pulling out the lightning sacred sea, then crossing the Heavenly King heavenly domain. Surely, Elder knows that if something had gone wrong, the lightning sacred sea could have ended up being an offering to the Heavenly King heavenly domain. The mention of revenge nearly makes my eyes flip, but I control my breath and hold back. She's not wrong. From her perspective, it's like some lunatic uprooted her home and then crossed a pirate island. This must be retribution. What is the second reason? That was for the sake of my master. Oh, I thought it was simply revenge against me, but it seems there's a proper reason. Whenever my master used the Great Desolate Path, he always used it like this. What? Whenever the Heavenly Punishment Supreme Deity or their lackeys were chasing my master, he would always let them get right up to his nose before activating the Great Desolate Path to escape. It was a way of taunting them while also gathering as much information as possible before fleeing. Because my master always escaped that way in his past life, I thought perhaps the present master might recall his past and gave it a try. So bringing Glass Peacock right up to our noses and then fleeing wasn't just for revenge. It was also to trigger John Myung-hoon's past life memories. I let out a bitter smile. Well, now I feel a little bad. Honestly, in my view, we are completely different beings who only share the same fate as the past enders. But from her perspective, sharing the same fate means being the same person, which is why she says such things. I nod. Fine. I'll acknowledge it. But it's a high-risk method, and it doesn't seem to have helped John Myung-hoon much, so don't do it again. Golden Shaking Bird stays silent at my words, and John Myung-hoon, who seems to grasp the situation, speaks up in support. Why ya? Seo Eun-hyun is right. Don't do that again. Yes, master. I have received your command. I introduce Golden Shaking Bird to John Myung-hoon, and we spend about a day inside the Great Desolate Path, deciding on our next destination. The next day arrives. After catching up with Yeo Y, who is separated from our fusion, Hong Fan, who has been within my body until now, and Golden Shaking Bird and John Myung-hoon, we decide to head towards the destination we set last night. Alright then, Golden Shaking Bird. As we decided last night, let's head to the good site Heavenly Domain first. Yes. Then I will begin the transfer to the good site Heavenly Domain. Golden Shaking Bird nods and begins activating the Great Desolate Path. Kurururum. Within the world of thunder and lightning, we begin preparing to move into the heavenly tribulation within the good site Heavenly Domain. Hong Fan and Yeo Y return inside my body, while John Myung-hoon and I sit in a lotus position and silently observe the Great Desolate Path. Great Desolate Path, activating. Destination, good site Heavenly Domain. Kurururum. Thunder roars, and we set off towards the good site Heavenly Domain. That's what should have happened. I feel something strange and glance at the surroundings. John Myung-hoon abruptly jumps to his feet. His eyes begin to turn bloodshot. This energy is Golden Shaking Bird. John Myung-hoon, calm down. Golden Shaking Bird won't be able to answer. What? Time has fractured. Under the attraction force of a formidable existence, the world has momentarily come to a halt. A being like Golden Shaking Bird won't even be able to resist. I'm saying the only ones who are conscious here are us. The surroundings are frozen. The Great Desolate Path, which was about to activate. Yeo Y and Hong Fan, who were chatting inside me. Even the seething lightning around us. Everything is at a standstill. And inside this frozen space-time, Quachajijic, a portion of the lightning begins to surge, and from within, a figure emerges. It's a foot. A pure white foot, as clean as freshly fallen snow, gently steps into this space. A palace attire made of lightning. A hair of white. A strange being, their face hidden. It is Zhongli. John Myung-hoon and I simultaneously tremble, and Zhongli smiles. This is surprising. I only permitted the consciousness of the heaven-destroying one, but your will is so immense that time stop didn't work. What a monster you are, Seo Eun-hyun. It's been a while, Zhongli. I greet Zhongli calmly, exuding killing intent. But John Myung-hoon grits his teeth as red lightning sparks around him. Have you come, seeking death, my nemesis? Kukik, someone like you? Kill me? Absurd. I, who acts on behalf of my lord, stand equal to the judges of the underworld. I can crush the likes of you beneath my finger. Kadudududuk. Zhongli's aura covers the entire Great Desolate Path. John Myung-hoon collapses to his knees, struggling even to breathe. Yet, even as he kneels, he cannot suppress his fury. Red lightning seeps from his 7 orifices as he slowly begins to rise again. It looks as though he's weeping blood. Zhongli stretches out her hand, as if intent on finishing him. A terrifying authority of heavenly tribulation can be felt from the surroundings. That won't do. I summon the wheel behind my back and take a step forward. Jiung. Zhongli's aura is nullified by my presence. I know I'll lose to you, but I am confident I can make you regret attacking us. Ying. The jade of Yin-yang and 5 elements gathers before me. It's not my preferred method, but right now, even the Great Mountain Supreme Deity's way is necessary. I am prepared to sacrifice myself to force-feed you the phenomena extinguishing mantra. If you are set on attacking us, be ready for the price. Kukik. Damn it. I sensed it the moment the temptation failed, but you really aren't human, Seo Eun-hyun. Zhongli laughs as she looks at me. Zhongli and I confront each other for a moment. A while later, she lets out a chuckle and steps back. Chi 3. Her oppressive aura fades. John Myung-hoon, as if released from his tension, collapses entirely and coughs up crimson spiritual energy. Even I am wary of that savage mountain divine spirit's mantra, so let us end this fight here. State your purpose for coming here. I was going to tell you anyway. Don't rush me. Pajajajijik. Lightning writhes and forms a chair, a seat made entirely of lightning, without any true substance. Despite only having form, Zhengli sits comfortably upon it. My lord speaks thus. I seek the strength of you enders. Come to the horse-ear heavenly domain and create a gap in the imprisonment heavenly domain. Do this, and this immortal shall bestow upon you the greatest gift that I can give. A sudden collaboration offer from the heavenly punishment supreme deity, Dugon. I flinch at the offer, while John Myung-hoon gasps for breath as he glares at Zhengli. She smiles faintly and extends her hand towards us. Choose. Take my lord's hand and liberate my lord to obtain future hope. Or, be ground to dust along with Mount Sumeru by the great mountain supreme deity who is gathering their strength. Chapter 592, Mount Sumeru, 5. Chapter 592, Mount Sumeru, 5. With you? Badudaduk. John Myung-hoon grits his teeth. Join hands. With you? His face twists into an evil spirit. Join forces with you. With you? Do you think I could ever accept that? Kuurung. A powerful thunderous roar bursts from within John Myung-hoon, pushing back Zhengli's presence alongside mine. Zhengli chuckles. Well, I'm only here to make an offer. Whether you accept it or not is up to you. And do you think you can escape their plan just because you refuse? One way or another, you will end up liberating my lord. Sooner or later, by some method or another. My lord is merely extending a hand to offer you pitiful things a chance. I glare at her as I listen. So, you plan to resurrect through John Myung-hoon's body, is it? At my words, Zhengli turns her gaze towards me. For a moment, Zhengli and I stare each other down. Well, that could be one way. In any case, understand that this proposal is entirely for your sake. She seems slightly flustered, perhaps because I saw through their plan so quickly. John Myung-hoon snorts at her. Huh? Use me as a vessel for resurrection? Don't make me laugh. You think I'd allow that? I'd kill myself first. Rather than let your lord take my body, I'd shatter every prophecy and throw myself into the underworld to be torn apart. He glares at Zhengli with bloodshot eyes, grinding his teeth. You want us to join hands? Fine. Then I'll agree. But, Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder Sect. Revive every single member of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder Sect who was annihilated by the owner of Heavenly Punishment. Bring them all back, and I'll help you. Zhengli seems to ponder something, while John Myung-hoon mutters in a low voice, as if reconsidering something. Don't even think about lying. Seo Eun-hyun. If she tries to deceive me with lies, strike her immediately. You can do that, right? Yeah. Keying. I activate the authority of the impermanence sword, locking my gaze onto Zhengli. She clicks her tongue and lets out a sigh. What a bunch of nuisances. Fine. I'll tell you the truth. The living beings who return to my lord. In other words, the other rabble other than the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder Sect that were in the human race territory where your sect resided. She must be talking about the residents of Thunder Spirit Island. The ones who returned to my lord have been reborn within them, now living happily as spirits of lightning. Their cultivation is far beyond what it was when they were humans, and their lifespans are longer. Honestly, most prefer this than before. My eyes widen at this unexpected truth. This is a part of my chest. Feels lighter. Of course, I don't feel completely at ease, but it's as if one of the heavy burdens of guilt, which had been weighing down on me, washes away. Though countless thorns still pierce my chest, it feels like at least one has been pulled out. Thank goodness. Back in the 15th cycle, when the entire heavenly human island, the headquarters of the human race, was returned to the owner of heavenly punishment, it hadn't been just pain and despair after all. However, unlike me, whose heart feels somewhat lighter, John Myung-hoon's gaze grows more vicious with each word of Zhengli's explanation. But, your Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder Sect didn't return to my lord back then. Quite literally, they were completely erased by the falling heavenly tribulation. Ordinary living beings, when they die, pass through the outskirts and fall into the depths of the underworld, where they are judged and then reincarnated. But the authority I used that day, borrowing my lord's power, sealed your spirits within the heavenly tribulation, tormenting them while sending them straight to the depths of the underworld, bypassing the outskirts entirely. At first, John Myung-hoon's face heaves with anger, but now it gradually calms. I know exactly what this means. When someone feels pain or hatred beyond a point, their rage condenses, and for a moment, they can seem rational. Right now, John Myung-hoon is condensing his fury to its utmost limit. Since they were thrust straight into the depths of the underworld, they would have been judged and reincarnated right away. They are probably living somewhere on this vast Mount Sumeru, reborn according to their karma. Those who accumulated virtue as races like the Earth Tribe or Heaven Tribe. Those steeped in vice as bugs, livestock, or perhaps as monsters with the fate of Azura. Since it has been some time since then, they have probably reincarnated hundreds of times. She shrugs. Sorry about that. Reviving the dead isn't hard, but finding those who have already reincarnated, especially ones who've done so hundreds of times, with their original fates and natures completely altered, and restoring their memories to present them before you, well, in my current state, that's a bit beyond me. If the 48 great net true heavenly lords under my lord in their heyday were still intact, it might have been worth attempting. But with my lord imprisoned, it is impossible. The only ones who could manage to do so at this point are probably the heavenly venerable of the underworld or the Sal Tree heavenly venerable, who oversee reincarnation. But neither of them will permit it. The judgments of the heavenly venerable of the underworld only proceed when a spirit has fully accepted its past life. Both heavenly venerables respect the free will of spirits that have come to terms with their lives and moved on to their next. What you are asking for is impossible. Do you understand? The red fades from John Myung-hoon's eyes, but I still see the endless pain within them. Right now, he is showing the appearance of the broken lightning harbinger. Why go to such lengths to eliminate any reason I might have to help you? He lets out a hollow laugh. It's a chilling sight. Yet Jingli smiles. While bringing them back is impossible, finding them isn't. What? You seem desperate to save the humans of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect. So, aside from my lord's reward, I will make you this promise. It is a promise in my lord's name. I will ask my lord to find the reincarnations of the humans from the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect who perished by my hand at that time. At that, John Myung-hoon's gaze trembles. The chilling look in his eyes fades slightly. Right now, it is a bit difficult, but once the lord escapes from imprisonment, it is possible. The red lightning heavenly tribulation method you have. Though it is an immortal art Yang Sujin slightly altered, who do you think the original came from? Pachajijik. A net of lightning crackles around Jingli. By using Indra's net of the red lightning heavenly tribulation, you can trace the history of those who have once been with you through the principle of returning lightning strikes. Of course, you can't do it with your own power. After so many reincarnations, they have long lost their original essence. To find those who have reincarnated hundreds, thousands of times, only the heavenly venerable of the underworld or the lord who fully controls heavenly punishment could manage such a feat. Help my lord, and they will help you in return. Jingli extends her hand to John Myung-hoon with a gentle voice. Just then, John Myung-hoon's gaze sharpens once more. What a joke. You say using Indra's net can help me find the comrades of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect? Then why in the world would I have to help you? Doesn't that give me even less reason to? Kukik, did you even listen? I even explained it in such detail. Don't tell me you actually believe you could use Indra's net to the same capabilities as my. Of course I can't. John Myung-hoon twists the corner of his lips. But what if Seo Eun-hyun helps me? Even so, it's just two upper immortals. There's also Golden Shaking Bird. She also definitely mentioned that there are Thunder Beasts and disciples who followed the Golden Divine. If they help too. Yang Sujin's disciples? Thunder Beasts? None of them have reached the realm of Great Net. I'm not the only one who can mobilize manpower. There's Seo Eun-hyun too. And I'm not alone with just Seo Eun-hyun. I have comrades in other heavenly domains as well. Kim Young-hoon, Oh Hyun-suk, Kang Min-hee, Kim Yun, and maybe even Oh Hye-seo. There is more than enough manpower I can call upon. With all their strength combined, isn't it possible for us to save the people of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect on our own? Jingli silently glares at John Myung-hoon. I hate you all, reincarnated or whatever, whether the rest are living well inside your lord's belly or not. During the time of the returning, back when we were annihilated by heavenly punishment, the ones who trampled the powerless us and fried us with heavenly punishment were you. John Myung-hoon pulls out a wooden box from his chest and grips it tightly, trembling. It is the box that holds Jin Sohei's hand. Even if I manage to find the reincarnated them, what am I supposed to do? Didn't you say they reincarnated multiple times? Their essence and fate have changed multiple times? Then doesn't that mean the ones I know are all dead for good? Hey, if you use certain immortal arts or precious elixirs, there are ways to recover their past life memories. So, you're telling me to go find those who are living peaceful lives now, force their past life memories onto them, and make them suffer the agony of their painful ends all over again. John Myung-hoon grits his teeth as he speaks. I will not join hands with you. Let your lord rot in confinement for 10,000, 100 million years. I don't care what gifts you offer. I am weaker than you, but we are stronger than you. John Myung-hoon's bold declaration. I smile faintly as I watch him. I, too, share the same resolve. After all, you are just another one of our enemies. At my words, Jingli clenches both fists, her body trembling. You mere fledglings who have just advanced to true immortality. How dare you defy their will? You think the likes of you are stronger than my lord. It seems the words, "We are stronger than you," struck her the hardest, as crimson lightning begins to crackle around her. Red. It feels as if the entire great desolate path is being dyed in red. This is dangerous. Zhongli is enraged. Immortal cultivation is repentant enlightenment. Why Yang? I recite the phenomena extinguishing mantra, preparing to counter her power at any moment as I glare at her. Zhan Myonghun also holds his ground, operating the red lightning heavenly tribulation method. Mere clots of blood who've just stepped into the realm of immortals. Even if you were to ignore me, you dare claim to be stronger than my lord with such empty words. No matter what happens today, I will rip your tongues out. Guguguguk. The very dimension seems to warp under the weight of her presence. Gradually, Zhongli's form starts to change. The immortal treasure of the heavenly punishment supreme deity, Zhongli. She seems to be revealing her main body. Just as I think that. Ugh. Zhongli suddenly flinches. And immediately after. Understood. Chijijik. She suppresses her rage and lowers her power. Chijik. Finally, when her red lightning fully subsides, I feel chills running across my entire body. It feels like my brain is trembling. Though my brain has long since ceased to exist, the sheer presence radiating from the being before me feels so immense it's as if my head is burning. I'm gonna throw up. An overwhelming presence is flooding the entire great desolate path. At the same time, I sense Zhongli's consciousness shrinking into a corner, her will vanishing. Having descended into Yeo Y's body and crossed the Heavenly King heavenly domain not long ago, I immediately understand what is happening. The will of the owner is descending into the body of the immortal treasure. In other words, Heavenly Punishment Supreme Deity. The Heavenly Punishment Supreme Deity, Dugon, is directly revealing their will through Zhongli's body within the great desolate path. Zhan Myonghun clutches his throat, gasping for breath as collapses, while I barely manage to withstand the pressure and stay on my feet. Even while they are imprisoned, with only a fragment of their will. Damn it. The gap between me and a supreme deity is still vast. Kadoo-doo-doo-duck. I speak towards the Heavenly Punishment Supreme Deity, as if screaming. It is an honor beyond measure to meet your majesty, the Heavenly Punishment Supreme Deity. If thee has any words for us later generations, please, we will listen with utmost respect. A faint chuckle. The moment it echoes, the suffocating presence that had engulfed us vanishes, as if it had been a lie. However, I realize that the presence hasn't disappeared, but has been compressed deep inside Zhongli's body. The claws have not been retracted, merely held back. I can tell that at any moment, they could reveal a will as powerful as before, no even stronger, and crush us and the entire great desolate path. This immortal has withdrawn my presence, so cease reciting the phenomena extinguishing mantra, Ender. The entity dwelling within Zhongli's body points with a kind voice at the yin-yang 5 elements energy gathering in my hands. I apologize. It is my minimal means of defense. The topic I will speak about from now on will be about RTOC of GWAC-AM. If you keep reciting, they might overhear. I will not harm you here today. I swear it upon the name of this immortal. Only then do I release the phenomena extinguishing mantra. Seeing this, Dugon reclines on the chair Zhongli has created and speaks. I understand the grudge you bear against this immortal. This immortal, too, knows all too well the feeling of losing those cherished and loved to an unstoppable force. This immortal won't ask you to set aside your grudge or forgive. When the time comes, come for your revenge. At this unexpected response, Zhan Myonghun and I momentarily wear strange expressions. Their casual invitation to exact revenge makes them seem almost magnanimous, or perhaps simply incomprehensible. But, as always, revenge should never end with revenge alone. You must think of those who remain. What do you mean by that? Zhan Myonghun speaks as he glares at Dugon, and Dugon responds with a faint smile. It is simple. Did Zhongli not tell you when she first came to convey my will? To choose. Be annihilated by the great mountain supreme deity, or liberate me and seek an opportunity. What is this great mountain supreme deity planning? Zhan Myonghun questions, not understanding, and Dugon speaks while turning to look at me. You know, do you not? The terror of the great mountain supreme deity? I will skip the unnecessary details and speak bluntly. I do not know exactly when, but, in the near future, all of Mount Sumeru will undoubtedly be destroyed by the hands of the great mountain supreme deity. They turn to Zhan Myonghun again and speak. And when that happens, all your old comrades, who have reincarnated and are now living peaceful lives, will feel the same agony as then and be annihilated. This time, there will be no chance for even reincarnation. Those struck down by the great mountain supreme deity do not reincarnate. You said you would not seek out their past lives out of concern for their current ones? Wrong. If you truly care about your old comrades, Then you must stop the great mountain supreme deity as fast as possible. Revenge is fine, but before seeking vengeance, should you not be protecting those who are still alive? Is that not clearly more important than revenge? Dugon looks at us with a relaxed demeanor and asks, "Is there any flaw in my logic?" John Myung-hoon's body trembles. With great effort, he parts his lips and asks me, "Seo Eun-hyun, I'm listening. Is it true? Will the world really be destroyed by that great mountain supreme deity? You would know, wouldn't you? If it's you." A question that I, the junior brother of the great mountain supreme deity, can clearly answer. I recall the power of the great mountain supreme deity, and I remember that golden wave I saw in my past life. That golden wave that crumbled all heavenly domains. Yes, the great mountain supreme deity can destroy the world. They have the power and the will. John Myung-hoon slams his head against the ground. Then, if I join hands with you, will I really be able to save them? At that, Dugon opens his mouth. To answer that, I will first need to explain the mantra they seek to complete. Of course, I do not know every detail, and I am only speaking on what I do know, but I will give you solid evidence on why your comrades can be saved. Then, their explanation that follows is beyond imagination. The mantra the great mountain supreme deity seeks to complete is the splitting heaven mantra. I freeze in place as I listen to the words of the heavenly punishment supreme deity, Dugon. To be exact, it is less of a mantra and more of a phenomenon. But for convenience, it is called the splitting heaven mantra. This phenomenon, where the heavens are torn apart, appears every time you enders are born. What? The phenomena extinguishing mantra of the Salt Sea Supreme Deity was an attempt to reverse the splitting heaven mantra to reach the origin of enders. And the current Great Mountain Supreme Deity's Great Mountain Splitting Emperor technique is one of many attempts to reverse the phenomena extinguishing mantra and restore the splitting heaven mantra. Shocking truths begin to pour from the mouth of the heavenly punishment supreme deity Dugon. Chapter 593, Mount Sumeru 6. Splitting heaven mantra, Tinjunyan. Or rather, the phenomenon known as splitting heaven Tan. What is born from that phenomenon is precisely us, the enders, and the current Great Mountain Supreme Deity seeks to reverse the phenomena extinguishing mantra in order to recreate that phenomenon with their own hands. But that's called the splitting heaven mantra? A mantra that tears the heavens apart, Tan. However, as I recall the final scene of my past life, I tilt my head in doubt. Back then, the heavenly domains did collapse, but it didn't feel like it was tearing the world apart. I recall the terrifying golden wave I felt at the time. It was more like devouring the world. In fact, it felt quite similar to the phenomena extinguishing mantra. It didn't feel like it was being unfolded in reverse. How does the heavenly punishment supreme deity know of such things? During the time when they helped Vast Cold's true immortal advancement, it was a truth hinted to me, who had arrived a step too late to assist. They said they would recreate splitting heaven with their own strength, and when that time comes, to choose one of two options. Become their ally, or become the power source for their splitting heaven mantra. They are certainly choices befitting Guak AM, but I never thought of helping him. That hasn't changed even now. Rather, I only have thoughts of stopping him. Why is that? In order to explain, I must first ask you something. You know the difference between immortal arts and mantras, correct? I have a general understanding. I explain to them the difference between immortal arts and mantras as I know them. Immortal arts are the spells used by true immortals. In other words, all techniques that twist the principles of the world through one's heart or attraction force. Then what exactly are immortal arts that are specifically referred to as mantras? True words. A mantra is essentially a collection of immortal arts. Weaving together a couple immortal arts at a minimum or as many as thousands, and unfolding them is what is called a mantra. The phenomena extinguishing mantra, the flawless mantra, and even wheel, which combines the two, all fall into this category. Even the creation of the small heavenly domain used by the 33 heavenly resplendent treasure immortals was probably a mantra as well. Strictly speaking, even my impermanence sword falls under this classification. The impermanence sword is a collection of immortal arts, starting from filling the heavens governing view to all the ultimate intents of my crystal glass to treading sea raised to the domain of immortal arts. However, since the impermanence sword is something that is fused with my entering heavens, I named it sword rather than mantra. Dugon listens to my explanation and nods. Exactly. Mantras are an assembly of immortal arts. But have you ever considered it this way? What do you mean? The existence of true immortals inherently benefits the world. In one way or another, we are beings that give birth to something within this world. When we issue a fate, that fate itself becomes a cradle of life, and even life itself. True immortals, by their very nature, are beings that create fate. That being the case, as I listen to Dugon's continuing words, I understand what they are saying. then would it not be correct to say that the immortal arts of true immortals are, in itself, alive? That makes sense. I nod. The notion that my impermanent sword is alive has been felt down to my bones since its days as the formless sword. The impermanence sword is already alive. In other words, immortal arts can inherently be considered something that possesses life. They simply exist in a form that lives in fusion with true immortals. Within the cells of living organisms, there exist cells that absorb the energy provided by the cells and, in return, supply them with the glucose necessary for survival. Originally, these were separate cells that existed outside of the cells, but at some point, they entered the cells and coexisted, eventually evolving into organelles, or so the theory goes. Me? What was it again? In any case, immortal arts and the impermanence sword give me a similar impression. They function as one of my organs, moving together with me and responding to my heart. But they are existences with their own separate life and heart. That is what immortal arts are. Mantras that weave together immortal arts that possess their own hearts are. Exactly. They are, in essence, another form of innate true immortals. At those words, Co Huil suddenly comes to mind. That guy? Could he have also had the potential to become an innate true immortal? For some reason, I feel that this topic could be the key to solving Oh Haisio's madness, so I make sure to commit it to memory. In other words, every mantra we wield is a living entity. More precisely, we should call them living phenomena. At this, John Myung-hoon frowns slightly, as if he doesn't quite understand. I don't get it. Can life exist in that form? Why wouldn't it? Well, I've never seen such a life form before. Honestly, it looks like even Seo Eun-hyun is a bit doubtful. That much is true. Even though mantras are living phenomena and even considered innate true immortals, I have never clearly encountered such an existence. I say that my impermanent sword is alive, but I never felt like I engaged in a rational conversation with it. If you cultivate the formula of the Radiant's 10 heavens, you will get a general understanding, since that too is a byproduct connected to the mantra of Radiance Hall. I'm not sure. I've thought that feeling was stronger because it is a realm connected to the Radiant's supreme deity. In that case, there is a much more intuitive way to explain it. Dugon smirks and gestures toward us. This is not much different from what I have been saying before. To put it plainly, you Enders are ultimately innate true immortals born from the splitting heaven mantra. What? John Myung-hoon's eyes widen as if they're about to pop out. What do you mean by that? Are you saying we weren't human? You could interpret it that way, and you would not be wrong. Strictly speaking, you are innate transcendence wearing human skin. What did you think was the reason you could advance in realms so quickly, gain absurd privileges and abilities, and reach this point faster than anyone else? Because you are geniuses? Wrong. You are merely beings hiding within human flesh, gradually shedding that shell and reclaiming the power you originally possessed. John Myung-hoon and I both let out a silent breath at the same time. I especially stared down at my own hands in shock. These hands that have wielded the sword countless times. The power I've accumulated all this time wasn't truly mine. But John Myung-hoon, having seemingly realized something, releases red lightning across his body. Pachajijik. I see. I think I can understand. But I, unable to comprehend, simply stare at John Myung-hoon for a moment. He understands this. I, for some reason, feel like I don't understand. Throughout roughly 1,000 lifetimes, I have been regaining the power I have lost and often been treated as a genius from it. But that was undoubtedly about reclaiming the power I accumulated as a mortal being in my past lives. It was never the feeling of recovering power as a being that was originally a transcendent. I don't know. Shaking my head, I asked Dugon a question. Yes, I understand now that a mantra is both a true immortal and an existence. Then, the reason the Great One has not joined the Great Mountain Supreme Deity is, it is simple. Every mantra is the greatest ally of the true immortal who wields it. And for those at our level, it is even possible to manifest the true form of that mantra into this world. You have seen it before, have you not? The Great Mountain Supreme Deity's mantra. Its true form. Could it be that the Great Mountain Supreme Deity's mantra is? That is right. I recall the mountain of corpses lying beneath the Great Mountain Supreme Deity, weeping tears of blood as they conveyed their will. So that corpse mountain blood sea was Gwakem's mantra. The corpse mountain blood sea they had tried to feed me all this time. The hordes of vengeful ghosts that always followed them. That was their very mantra and ally. That is right. And there is one more thing. If a mantra is an innate true immortal, would it not also be possible to grind down an existing true immortal and turn them into a mantra? Only now do I understand what the Heavenly Punishment Supreme Deity is trying to say. Gwakem, that insane bastard. The truth is so absurd that a curse slips from my lips on its own. Mantras are innate true immortals. At the same time, true immortals can be turned into mantras. A mantra is the greatest ally of the true immortal who wields it. The Great Mountain Supreme Deity Guak Am told the Heavenly Punishment Supreme Deity Dugon to become their ally. When that madman said ally and power source, they meant the same thing. Telling the Heavenly Punishment Supreme Deity to cooperate meant grinding them down and treating them as part of Guak Am's mantra. Using them as a power source meant grinding them down all the same. There was no choice? No, that is not quite right. Becoming a mantra and becoming a power source are undeniably different. If one becomes a mantra, they can retain their sense of self and even exert influence over the Great Mountain's mind. However, becoming a power source means simply being ground up as fuel to activate the mantra. There is a clear distinction. But I absolutely do not want to become one with that insane madman's corpse mountain blood sea, that grotesque sight. That is all. Hearing the Heavenly Punishment Supreme Deity's explanation, I click my tongue. John Myung-hoon nods and speaks. So, I understand why you refuse to aid that Great Mountain Supreme Deity. But how exactly do you plan to save us if we set you free? The splitting heaven mantra of the Great Mountain Supreme Deity exists solely to break through the audience chamber that is called the 33rd heaven, Senesenkya, within the head realm, located at the vertex of the sun and moon heavenly domain. In other words, everything that happens before they break through the audience chamber is nothing more than a preparatory stage for activating the splitting heaven mantra. I grit my teeth at those words. As expected, I wasn't mistaken. The golden waves I witnessed in my past life had indeed looked as though they were devouring Mount Sumeru. So only after completely consuming Mount Sumeru can the splitting heaven mantra be properly activated to break through the audience chamber. It is a truly terrifying truth. And considering the corpse mountain blood sea that reflects the temperament of the Great Mountain Supreme Deity, the preparation phase for the splitting heaven mantra must be the same. They will likely devour the entirety of Mount Sumeru. They will compress this entire world into a single point with the phenomena extinguishing mantra. Then, by unraveling such a phenomena extinguishing mantra in reverse to use the splitting heaven mantra, the 33rd heaven will be breached, and they will immediately reach beyond. Dugon exhales a quiet sigh as they gaze somewhere in the sky. And, at the very moment when the Great Mountain Supreme Deity has devoured all of Mount Sumeru, right before they activate the splitting heaven mantra, as everything in Mount Sumeru has become one, for just a single moment, they will reach a state of greatness that no one has ever dreamed of. A state of greatness. Yes, the very first form of all things. Having devoured all seats and origin essences, the state where they manifest the beginning. The Great Mountain Supreme Deity, for just a single moment. In that one single moment, when they have devoured all of Mount Sumeru, they will reach the first light. That is the argument I present to you as the means to escape from the Great Mountain Supreme Deity's devilish hands. At their next words, my eyes widen. I once fought against the Radiance 8 Immortals alongside my former subordinates, the Jade Pivot 48 Lightning Heavenly Great Immortals, Yusu, Heavenly Tendasha. In exchange for the lives of my loyal retainers, the Bearing Tree Heavenly Domain, and all of my power and influence, I learned this truth. Chills. The atmosphere shifts. Is it because they are recalling an unpleasant memory? Dugon's grief takes form, emerging into reality and influencing the surroundings. Drip, drip. Something red begins to well up at the tip of Zhongli's chin that Dugon possessed. A crimson liquid flows. It looks like tears of blood. It is an incomparably refined form of heaven and earth's spiritual energy, imbued with fury. Because I uncovered the true nature of the Radiance Supreme Deity and the weakness that light possesses through Indra's net. And because I also know how to exploit that weakness in the first light, to evade its gaze and survive. Kurong. The surroundings seem to darken. A powerful sense of despair and sorrow sweeps through the surroundings. If you can endure beneath me for just a while, eventually, the Great Mountain Supreme Deity will reach the audience chamber and perish on their own. Then, everything will be over. No one can escape under the gaze of light. It's just, I simply did not know before that bowing my head beneath their reign was the only way to survive. Dugon rises from the seat. I have presented my argument. Will you meet your inevitable destruction beneath the splitting heaven mantra of the tyrannical devil god, the Great Mountain Supreme Deity? Or will you choose to liberate this immortal and seek hope within the certainty of destruction? No matter when it is, make your choice. As the heavenly tribulation of all phenomena, whenever you make your decision, speak to the heavenly tribulation. May you choose wisely. I shall wait within that prison. With those words, Dugon begins walking away. With every step they take, they vanish into lightning alongside Zhongli. Their appearance carries the dignity of an emperor, yet at the same time, they appear unbearably lonely and desolate. Why did you ignore my warning and challenge the audience chamber back then, my friend? I read the lingering thoughts of the heavenly punishment supreme deity as they fade into the void. The last thing on their mind was the vast, cold heavenly lord. The inexplicable regret of a being with the attitude of submitting to light. As I witnessed this, a strange paradoxical feeling along with a sense of kinship wells up within me. Tingle. 16th cycle. What's this? For some reason, seeing Dugon's demeanor strongly reminds me of the 16th cycle. I don't know. For now, discussing it with the other comrades seems to be the right course of action. Kajigajik. The surrounding attraction force and space-time gradually return to normal, and John Manghoon and I exhale quiet sighs. Quarrurum. The great desolate path leaps through the world of lightning and arrives at the good sight heavenly domain. First, let's find Kim Young-hoon, John Myung-hoon. Let's gather everyone, and then discuss together. Agreed. John Myung-hoon nods heavily, his expression filled with deep thought. Kururum. With a gesture from John Myung-hoon, the great desolate path and the lightning sacred sea shrink and enter his body. I secure Hong Fan within myself, making sure that the heavenly venerable of the void never detects him, and then I wait for a moment. By the way, Seo Eun-hyun, how are you planning to find Kim Young-hoon in this vast good sight heavenly domain? It's not difficult. Just wait a little. A guide will come. What? And before my words can even finish, blink. As I blink once, a familiar face appears between John Myung-hoon and me, the heavenly venerable of void. It is the true martial great emperor, Hyen-mu. You've grown quite a bit. To think you could follow my arrival with your eyes. I merely managed to catch your form. John Myung-hoon flinches in utter shock at Hyen-mu's sudden appearance, while I barely manage to perceive the moment she arrives and speak. We are here to find Kim Young-hoon. Kim Young-hoon? Oh. Hyen-mu speaks with empty eyes. He's dead. Surung. Hyen-mu raises something black towards me and speaks. If you have complaints, come at me. I will take you on any. Before she can finish speaking, I interrupt her, stepping back while drawing the colorless glass sword, and then taking 3 steps forward. In the first step, I infuse my sword energy and the vital essence of my entire being. In the second step, I unleash the refined essence, circulating it through my body and the surroundings. In the third step, I return all that circulated essence back to its origin. These 3 steps contain the quintessence of the martial knowledge I have gained enlightenment on. And at the origin of all circulation, all power is gently returned. This is a single circle, revealing the enlightenment I reached while fighting the 33 heavenly resplendent treasure immortals. I smile faintly. I have drawn a circle. Do you find any flaws in it? Hyen-mu remains silent. She simply gazes at me with vacant eyes. You must have come here to test a junior and help refine their abilities. However, this junior has already found his path. I have received your teaching, so please return Kim Young-hoon. I know full well that he is not dead. After staring at me for a moment, Hyen-mu scatters the weapon in her hand. Indeed, you have no need for guidance. Yes, so, you. But in the next moment, Hyen-mu interrupts me, and I can't help but flinch in surprise at her next words. Will you not engage in dual cultivation with me?